Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 50. I am your host. With me, as always, my co-host and teenage son who's shaking his head at me. It's Jack. Say hello, Jack.
Yeah, your intro sucks.
My intro sucks?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did it last time. You
Yeah.
could have done it this time.
Yeah.
You forgot to mention.
You didn't say duders.
I did not say duder, so that can be your signature greeting.
That is
dude.
my greeting.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. We've made it to 50 episodes, closing in on a year. Just wanted to thank people as we hit early July. Canada Day just passed. Obviously, 4th of July for our American friends is coming up. June was a pretty good month for us. I usually say slow incremental growth. It was a little bit bigger than that, so thanks to everybody.
We had Dynamite on Sunday, I think.
Oh, yeah, we did a Dynamite review as well.
Mm-hmm.
As you jump in with the non sequitur there, right off the bat. But yeah, pretty good month, so thank you, listeners. Keep telling other people. That would be the best thing you could do for us, is just, if there's any wrestling fans in your life, let them know you listen to this, let them check it out. And, obviously, like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff.
We did say we would shout out anyone who contacts us, right? So I got a contact on the Instagram account from a guy, and I forget what it was, so let me see if I can find it, but unless
it's basically an automatic.
He basically, like, said, like, gave your account. Oh, here it is, okay.
Breaking
Hi,
news.
had a look over your profile. Seems like you are a great fit. Smooth My Balls is interested in working with you.
Yeah.
And like,
nope, sorry.
I don't even know what it says. So then I click on the profile to see what there is, but the profile just says DM to be an ambassador, free worldwide. Like, I don't know what Smooth My Balls is.
Free what?
To free worldwide shipping.
Oh, yeah, so
this
is just...
Oh, wait, they have a website. Here, just keep talking while I...
Some sort of thing where they basically see, hey, you guys have put out X number...
Never nip your sack again.
Right. You've put out X number of episodes of a show, and you have a few followers, so...
It's a grooming thing.
Yeah, that's
Are
what I told you.
they trying to sponsor us?
Yes.
Cool.
No.
What?
Oh, well, not them. I don't know.
I would love to be sponsored by Smooth My Balls.
You probably would, as a teenage boy.
That would be funny.
You think that's hilarious every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know, what's the big news in our life? You got your... graduation present that you were quite happy about. It
was a stick.
Some generous family members
kidding.
contributed. My parents, your mother's parents, us. I don't know if any aunts and uncles were in on it, but what did you get? Go ahead and tell them.
Oculus Quest 2.
So VR, it is pretty fun. I've tried a bit of Star Wars, a bit of Beat Saber's really cool. You already beat the Star Wars game, right?
2 times.
Didn't take too long though.
No, because it's like, it's weird. Instead of making it like one, I feel like if they were one game, it would still be pretty short, but instead of making one kind of short game, they made into 3 super short games. Yeah,
it's really cool. Like, obviously for me as a person, like, to see VR in reality that high quality, that cool is pretty shocking for me. And it's weird because when I played it for a little bit down here in the basement, and you get really absorbed in it, right? And then you take off the thing and you're like, oh, I'm just in my crappy basement surrounded by boxes.
It makes my face feel weird around my eyes.
But it's a really cool little thing. And your brother got a new steering wheel for his video game contraption that seems to be pretty fun.
Like the game he has doesn't work for it.
I think I can make it work. It's just I have to look it up.
Nice.
Certain ones you have to take an extra step to get it to work.
Oh, you gotta do work.
Which I'm not good at when it comes to that kind of stuff, but we'll try.
That's fair.
So yeah, I don't know. Your school's out for summer, so you're just in the midst of
I'm just
doing
waiting
whatever.
for report cards to come in.
Yeah, the report card should be coming soon, and then we'll see how that goes. But
we will
I don't know.
See how that goes.
Pool's heating for later today. We're actually down in the studio a little bit early today, right? Hoping to get this out a couple hours early so we can enjoy what looks like a nice day here in Southern Ontario. So we do not have our booster juice to tell you. We may have it at halftime. We may wait till we're done to get it, but I'm sure you would have get. If it were here, it'd be a Funky Monkey.
The one thing is for sure is
Storm.
we will get it.
We will get it at some point today. We'll
probably also with my lunch.
Make the walk over. Yeah, that's probably a good plan. Grab a slice of pizza or something over there. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, anything else you wanted to talk about? I guess our contact information, fnswrestling@gmail.com. What's yours?
And Instagram is at FNS_wrestling_podcast. And we do not need to be in contact with Smooth My Balls at the moment.
Not at the moment, no. We're not quite ready to sign a lucrative deal with them. But yeah, I mean, so far I like having no ads, no sponsors, no anything. Because I listen to a lot of podcasts and sometimes
I would like,
it gets
I always
annoying.
watch YouTube videos and like they're always sponsored. Like I would like, we were to sponsor by HelloFresh.
Because we actually use it.
Right.
That is something we use, yes.
Ringside.
But anyways.
Come on, Ringside.
You're giving all these companies free advertising.
I'm sitting right here, Ringside, come on.
To our millions and millions of listeners.
No, I like
May
Ringside.
not be millions. Maybe
or
significantly
I would
less.
gladly take a sponsorship from New Wave Collectibles.
From what? New Wave Collectibles?
It's a Canadian site.
Oh, it is. Oh, and I'm update on my air fryer for Father's Day. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's so interesting.
It's pretty awesome.
It's good.
I wish it were bigger. That's my.
I wish
complaint.
we had more mozzarella sticks.
But we've now done mozzarella sticks, fries, wings several times, hash browns. I did breakfast potatoes. Everything turns out really crispy and delicious.
Hash browns,
turns out with almost no oil.
Also classify hash browns as breakfast potatoes?
Yeah, they are. But I meant like ones I made from scratch. But anyways, that's the air fryer update. It's sweet. Thinking of getting Grandpa one for his belated birthday gift when they come up.
Nice.
So he can try it. For them, it'd be perfect with 2 people. We need like a bigger one for a
5.
family of 4 with 2 young boys who eat 4. A fair amount sometimes.
We need 4 air fryers.
Or the one that's an oven. The whole oven is an air fryer. But that sounds like big money, so I don't even want to look it up.
And we already have an oven.
We do have an oven that works pretty well. But anyways.
Oven things.
Should we talk about wrestling, do you think?
I guess.
Wow. Usually you say no.
Yeah, well, this podcast isn't even about wrestling.
You've just given in. We're going to talk about wrestling. The first thing we're going to talk about, like every week, is news and rumors.
And ratings.
And ratings. Do you see my pause there? Because I've caught myself saying as always a lot. So that was my stopping to not say that. Because I listened.
But then you took the time to say it.
I know, because I listen back to the podcast once every time, right? And I pick up these things that I say a lot.
I don't even notice. I don't listen to it back, but like when we're recording, I don't notice it.
I don't notice it much when I'm recording. It's almost always when I listen back. You're a lot of ums. I'm a lot of as always. And I'm some ums as well. But what are you going to do? That's how it is.
Yeah.
So we'll start out with the ratings. I have double ratings for you for Dynamite.
Dynamite was on Wednesday.
Yeah, because there was the Saturday, June 26th episode. Happy birthday, Dad. So that one drew 649,000 viewers. It was up 14.9% from the week before, and it did a 0.21 in the 18 to 49 demographic, which was barely up from a 0.20 the previous week. So that was their last one on sort of a strange day. So this Wednesday, back at their normal day and time, episode of Dynamite did 883,000 viewers. So that's a nice number, up 26.5% from the previous week's Saturday show, and a 0.30 in the 18 to 49 demographic, which is up 30%. So obviously that's a significant jump now that they're back to their regular time slot. Tuesday's live edition of NXT, not so great. 636,000 viewers.
I thought it was a good show. Like NXT's been good. Lately.
Oh yeah, they ran into some major competition, so they were down 4.4% in viewership, a 0.13 in the demographic, which is down 23.5%. It was the least watched episode since the show moved to Tuesdays on April 13th, and the lowest viewership since February 3rd when they aired in the Wednesday time slot against Dynamite.
That sucks.
But they were up against a pretty big NBA playoff game, so that's...
Damn you, basketball. Stop ruining my stuff.
Fans got drawn somewhere else. So Dynamite they returned to a pretty respectable number in their regular day and time, and NXT kind of struggled going up against an NBA playoff game.
Basketball will be ruining everything.
Can I slip one more in there because it's related to ratings before
you?
This week's Dynamite, there's an for me right there. Dynamite.
Let's go with
Dynamite peaked during the main event, which was MJF Sammy Guevara, and that segment reported
Indeed it was
926,000 viewers and a 0.40 rating. So that are some pretty big numbers for that main event, which I thought was pretty good, but we'll get to that, I guess. What do you have for news?
Zelina Vega has been brought back into WWE, like, officially. She returned on SmackDown. Very odd, because, like, you assume, like, she'd be brought back because Aleister Black was still around, but he is not.
Maybe they're afraid of her as either going with Andrade or with Aleister Black, wherever he goes. I wonder if, like, I'd love to know, because
I feel like she would have gone with Andrade, maybe.
Do they, and that would be an amazing, imagine the upgrade from Vicky to her. Oh my goodness, it would be immeasurable. I wonder if they release her and then hire her back with like a lower salary or something. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to, looks like, clear out money and stuff. So is it like, we were overpaying you and we'll take you back, but for a fraction? Like, these are the details I would love to know. Because it seems strange that you release her and hire her back. And
Sonya Deville added her to the Money in the Bank match.
So right away she's going to be...
And then she lost to Liv Morgan.
An in-ring performer right away, but lost, so...
To Liv Morgan.
Right. Who's amazing, I guess. I don't know.
No.
Yeah. Do you want to do another one? You want me to go? What do you want to do?
If you want to go, then...
So WWE talent, I was telling you, have been doing training sessions at the Performance Center as WWE
when you
has...
say training sessions, what do you mean? Like
they're just going to train, like to work on stuff again.
Stuff.
So this is WWE mandated main roster wrestlers take part in workouts to prepare for their return to the road, right? Because they're going to be... It's sort of your last chance to be concentrated in one area before they start moving across the country. So it wasn't for everybody, I found out, but many performers who've been off TV lately, including Sasha Banks was down there, and certain wrestlers, they said who'd asked for time off were not given that time off. They weren't exempt from going to the training session. So it's just kind of like you're sort of studying before the exam sort of thing. You're getting ready to go back on the road, so they just wanted to tighten some things up, I guess. And even some veterans and accomplished wrestlers were down there getting some training in, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. So WWE's got 3 new PC recruits.
Yes.
We got, I'm probably gonna butcher this, but Fei Cheng Wang, or whatever.
I did see this.
Up here, he's kind of got like, I think he's the dude with the long hair.
Yeah.
I think they said he's 6'2" and he's from China.
Nice.
So
that is
cool.
a market they are looking to break into, right?
We got Ji Yin. She's also from China. They all seem to be like Asian.
Yeah, that's what I saw as well.
And then we got Sean Tan from Singapore.
Right.
So
I don't know anything about them.
I have no idea who any.
I know WWE wants inroads in China and they want inroads in India.
The first guy, the long hair guy, he has hair like Tyler Rust.
Oh, nice. When are the Koreans coming, right? That's what we want.
When is Tyler Rust going to wrestle?
Sorry, I say that because...
That's what I want.
My wife, his mother is Korean, so we are always looking for Korean talent to come.
Yes. Next one for you.
For me, WWE reportedly wants, surprise, surprise, more physically imposing wrestlers on its roster in the wake of recent cuts, which were almost exclusively smaller talent.
Right, and like now they've basically obliterated the 205 Live roster.
So Meltzer actually made claims that WWE is now looking to sign wrestlers who weigh at least 220 pounds and are under the age of 26.
You've got a weight requirement now.
Yeah, he said, quote, the guys that they got rid of were the guys they weren't going to, they weren't going to do anything with the guys, and they were mostly older guys.
Well, isn't that nice?
I know that there's a movement to bring in younger and bigger guys, That's like the big thing right now there. 26 and under, over 220, that type of mentality again. Whenever business is bad, or whatever you want to call it, let's say popularity is so-so at this point, you can't say business is bad. I mean, in traditional metrics, it's not great. But whenever that happens, Vince is always going to go back to his intuition, which is always, we need bigger guys. Right. So this is Vince being a body guy, a size guy. When he's doing good,
it doesn't matter that much to him, I guess, right? Like,
yeah, no, it's just
basically what he's saying.
One of their metrics they love is like, and other podcasts talk about this, if this guy's walking through an airport, or girl, whatever, is she going to draw attention, right? Like Andre the Giant, obviously, is just, people are jaw dropped, so he's looking for people that stand out in a crowd, he just thinks if you're huge, you're going to draw attention. Right. Braun Strowman coming out of the airport, right, is going to draw a ton of attention, where Kyle O'Reilly is not, sort of thing. So,
how dare you?
While you and I, as already hardcore fans, don't care, we just want
I love Kyle
in-ring stuff and other things. Size isn't a huge part of what we're looking for, but for Vince, he thinks that's one of the most important things, and he's in charge. So here we go. Lots of big guys that probably can't wrestle that well.
Yeah.
Anything else for you? Coffee sip. Coming.
Bea Priestley, who's she was on the Indies. She was in AEW for a brief spell.
I think she's all right from what I've seen.
She's debuted in WWE. She's been added to NXT UK.
Right.
And has been rebranded in her package. Blair Davenport.
Oh, they even renamed her.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I just saw that she went to UK.
It's not a great name and not the most prominent spot, but
I don't know. Their women's division's pretty solid, actually. And I guess they just lost Piper Niven, or what's her...
Dewdrop. Okay.
Sorry. So I guess it's sort of a replacement. But yeah, I thought Bea Priestley looked pretty good. So I don't know that much about her, but I thought she looked okay in what I saw. So I actually watch NXT UK every week, so I'll let you know what I think of her presentation. Anything else?
24 hours after leaving his role as a WWE producer, ex-TNA star Sanjay Dutt is now an AEW producer.
Oh, nice. Good for him. I used to like him in the ring. Talk about a very small guy, but he was very talented. And I know he's backstage, I don't know, trainer, producer, role he's producer. Nice. Good for him. Anything else?
No.
Me either. So that's going to bring us into talking about our first weekly program, and that is taking a look at this week's NXT. So, just a bit of a note, I'm changing up my style a little bit here. I'm going much less move for move in my recaps just to let people know. I don't think there's anyone that's really going to care. I don't imagine there's many of you tuning in for my move by move almost recap. So it's going to be more of like notable stuff that happened and focusing more on analysis, because I think that's what people really tune into, is to hear quickly remind me what happened in the match and then tell me what you thought of it.
I'm not doing that yet, but I'll see how this goes.
We're going to try and baby step towards it, right?
I'll see how yours goes.
Okay, that's fair. So the show starts this week with a recap of the Diamond Mine's debut to end the show last week. We also get a quick summary of the Cole O'Reilly issues heading into Great American Bash, which will be next week, right?
Yes,
And a recap of what got us to the 3-team women's tag team match tonight. And that match is actually going to be our opener.
Oh, snap, segue.
So, that's Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart versus Zoe Stark, Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. As I said, it's for the number 1 contender for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. So this match, I thought was a really fast...
I think they faced the way at the Great American Bash, right?
I think that's right. This was a pretty fast-paced match. It seemed to sort of follow the formula of the men's 5-way match, I thought, which was like, take Gonzalez out for a bit and the rest would kind of go crazy.
Except Gonzalez is good.
She is, and she looked good in this in her parts too, but that seemed a little bit about what it was. Get Gonzalez out and the rest of them could kind of go nuts for a little bit. So some notable things. So for this match, which I liked, right, 1 member of each team is legal at all times.
Right, so I definitely prefer that format rather than
a lot of action.
2 people in, and then like you could be tagged by not your partner.
Right. I think this was a great match for me to start by not taking a lot of notes, because this was there's a lot of stuff going on. So a few of the highlights. At the beginning, Io and Moon are trying to work together to take out Gonzalez, but Gonzalez kind of overpowers both of them. Moon gets control briefly with a nice flurry before everything kind of breaks down and everybody's in the ring. A little later, we get an Io moonsault to Dakota Kai and Gonzalez on the floor, followed by a suicide dive by Shotzi, and then dives from Moon and Stark as everybody's just kind of flying out to the floor. Gonzalez has Shotzi on her shoulders where she's carrying her, and then still it's that spot she's done before, right, where she has a person on her shoulders and still hits a boot to somebody else. So she boots Io while she has Shotzi on her shoulders, which I always think looks impressive. I thought Zoe Stark got a really nice hot tag in the middle, hitting a sliding knee to Moon and Kai at the same time. She kind of had them lined up, slid by and kneed both of them in the face, that I thought was kind of cool. Stark and Shirai double team Kai, leading to a 619 and a missile dropkick. We get a double underhook German by Shotzi to Dakota Kai for a 2 count. At one point, Gonzalez just rips Moon off the ropes, right, and tosses her across the ring, hits a power bomb to Shotzi after a nice little display of power from Gonzalez. We get double knees to Stark by Dakota Kai, who's immediately hit by double knees from Io. We get a double underhook backbreaker by Io to Dakota Kai, a moonsault, but Gonzalez covers up Kai to sort of protect her. We then get a senton by Shotzi to Gonzalez. There's like a signature finisher parade, as I call it. Everybody sort of gets their chance to get something in here.
Finisher Fest 2021.
Kai sneakily rolls up Io for a quick 2 count. We then get a palm strike by Io to Dakota Kai. She hits the moonsault for the win. And Stark and Io Shirai will face the way at Great American Bash. What did you think of this match?
So I thought it was a good choice for an opener. And like I said, I appreciate the format they went with, like kind of like a more triple threat style where like one person from each team.
I like that too.
I prefer that. This is good. I think everyone did good, and I think a multi-person match can hide the weaker links.
Yep.
Shotzi.
Wonder who you're talking about.
Yeah. Shirai and Stark are the least tenured team.
Yes.
Which is probably my only issue with them winning. Because, like, I like them both in the ring. Like, they're both great. But just, like, they formed last week, I think.
I'm just going to say that's because Io's just that damn great.
Yeah.
She can just.
I'm fine.
And I like Stark, too,
yeah,
but
I'm
Io's
fine with
amazing.
them winning. And I have a slightest feeling that Shirai might turn on her just based on the way they've been
whole,
going.
like, I don't like you, but I respect you, right?
And it's like, oh, Io's not a team player.
And Stark's like, that's okay. We'll still...
We'll be good.
Respect is enough. That's all we need.
Right.
I thought this was pretty much the definition of a hot opener, and I really liked this match. Everyone worked really hard. It was pretty much nonstop action throughout. I thought it was laid out well. The flow was good. Everybody got to get some stuff in, as they say. And I'm not sure I love Io as a tag wrestler in general. I just think, like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, she's above it. Not that, and I do respect tag team wrestling and I like it, but she's a single star to me, right? Like, at one point I'm on here saying she might be the best wrestler in the world. And I understand you just sort of need to change her role, right? She can't be the face of the women's division all the time. So this is a little break for her and I'm fine with it. And I think there might be a story built around it, like you're saying, right? Like there's something going on there with she and Stark, or why would they have addressed it at all, right? If they don't have plans for it.
Right.
I think this was a really fast match that was worked pretty clean, right? There was no botches that I remember by Shotzi or anything really dangerous. I thought this was a pretty great start to the show, actually.
Mm-hmm.
We then get Gargano attacks Karrion Kross backstage, and security are sort of holding Kross back. I'd noticed there was no Scarlett at this point, but we do see her a bit later. So I didn't think this was anything other than reminding us that Kross is involved with Gargano. I didn't have any deep thoughts on this.
I liked it because Kross got his butt
right. Commentary then let us know that there is another NXT Breakout tournament. And I'm a sucker for tournaments, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and I like this. Like, this tournament brought us Cameron Grimes,
I forgot
Loomis,
all the people. They show us.
Bronson Reed.
Grimes, Swerve, Loomis, Wild, Garza, and Bronson Reed.
Yeah, Swerve I forgot. And
me too.
Garza. I love Garza. Yeah, they brought in, like, a lot of guys. Notice they didn't mention Jordan Miles.
No, they did not. So that's returning in 2 weeks, and a tournament with guys that I might not know. I love that idea, right? I'd love to see some new talent I don't know, and hopefully they're good. Mackenzie then talks to Bronson Reed about this tournament. He thinks
which I think is kind of odd, but I mean, I guess he was in it.
Yeah, he was. He thinks it's cool that it's coming back. He credits the tournament for catapulting him to championship status. And then Hit Row interrupt, and Swerve can't understand how Reed was the one to come out of that tournament and become a champion. Top Dollar, then Swerve sort of challenge Reed to give Swerve a shot at the title. And Reed actually agrees to do it tonight, so we get that kind of big match added right away to this show. And I don't know, Hit Row just continues to grab my attention anytime they're on screen. I thought Swerve was really good here. I find him really, really interesting in this character. Like, when he's on screen, I'm locked in on him right now.
He seems into it. I think he's comfortable here. It just works for him.
He's so good, and those guys supporting him, it's just such a great act. And obviously, it looks like they're getting catapulted.
But this doesn't feel right.
Something feels off. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Right, I don't think he'll win if it's a sudden match like this. If he loses,
so that was my thought.
He gets another shot. And I feel like if he was gonna win, they would have gone to
Great American Bash. Why not wait a week, right?
So maybe a scurry finish, I guess.
Yeah. So at this point in the show, Jack and I were sort of talking about it as we're watching it, and that's what we're saying. Like, they didn't promote this at all, so there's no way it's a clean win or anything's going to happen. It's going to be some sort of non-finish, and maybe they'll push it to the Bash, which will be cool.
Or, at least save it, because, I don't know, I feel like you need build for this.
And then we find out it's the main event, so I start getting a little more suspicious. Like, would they really put some sort of, cheap
maybe
finish
a cliffhanger on the show, and then, maybe it's resolved next
week.
At
this point, I'm not thinking there's going to be a title change in hands. I figure they're going to sort of work their way out of
I don't think they will.
That's what we were thinking.
That's what they'll probably
do. We'll see. Kross storms to the ring with Scarlett, and she's the one carrying the belt, kind of coming behind him. Kross dares Gargano to come out and confront him. Gargano does come out, points out how Kross jumped him like a coward last week, and he was beating Kross at his own game by sort of doing the same thing this week. Gargano said Kross is in the ring now, which is Gargano's world. Gargano joked about Kross not having talent and brains.
That is true.
At some point, they need to slow down at everybody talking about how... I know we kind of agree that they can all out-wrestle Kross, but it's not great for his character, you know what I mean?
I don't care.
I know you don't care, but just wrestling purist-wise, it's not great for them to constantly point out that all of these guys can wrestle better than him. Anyways.
Even though it is straight fact.
It is true. Austin Theory shows up and the way pummel Kross with strikes. Kross disposes of Theory first, then hits Gargano with the Saito before running him several times into the plexiglass kind of wall. Kross is about to hit Gargano with the steel steps, but referees run out to separate the two. Gargano recovers, gives Kross a super kick before bolting into the crowd and kind of disappearing. Joe is there, and Kross gets into Samoa Joe's face. Another thing they need to stop doing is teasing all these confrontations with Joe if they're not going to give us any of them, right?
I just want the Pete Dunne one.
Everybody's got problems with Joe, and at this point, he can't fight anybody, so they got to stop teasing us with this. Sure. Security then sends Kross to the back. What did you think of this?
So I thought this was good. While this feud is odd because they're both heels, I think they're a different degree of heel at least.
Yeah.
Right? Gargano's good. Maybe he can try to bring out the best in Cross, I guess.
That's the hope, right? It's Johnny Wrestling.
It's Johnny Gargano. And while I'm still waiting for him to return to his babyface role, just because that's the Johnny Gargano I remember.
I think he's leaning a bit. I feel like he and Theory are leaning a bit
that way. But then
later
in the show, I think maybe not. Like, just because, like, I remember starting to watch NXT, I always thought, like, when I was watching this DIY match, like, when Gargano's just, like, the wide-eyed face, like...
Yeah.
That when I think of Johnny Gargano, that's how I remember him. You know what I mean?
Him in his purest form. Yes.
But I always love Gargano. He's probably one of NXT's best, of all time. So
yes,
and Cross is the opposite.
Yeah, I thought this was fine. I didn't love it. Cross, he seems to be worse on the mic than I remember. Like him coming in, I was like,
I feel like when
he's a big, strong guy. He can talk. He's a smart guy.
Right, and even if it's like, because remember he had like the first pay-per-view match with Ciampa or whatever. Like even that wasn't that bad. Like
I'll be like, he might not be the style I love in the ring, but they're gonna love him, and he can talk, so he should be overall a pretty good package.
Can he?
I haven't enjoyed him on the mic very much. This is a way to keep building this feud, I guess. I didn't think there was much special about this, but I was fine with it. It held my interest, so I don't know. I guess that's good enough. Same thing. I'm hoping Gargano. Sometimes I slip into Gargano somehow. Gargano can pull a great match out of this guy. Yeah. It's possible, right? There's been... What cross match did I really like? I forget. There was one that I thought... Boy? Was it? Yeah. Well, no, I think there was a singles one he had that I liked too. But yes, that one as well.
Who did he face?
Did he face O'Reilly?
No, he faced Balor.
It might have been that. Anyways,
twice.
The potential is there. The next thing we see is that the battery is now charged up to 61%.
Yeah, so it seems to be like it'll be at a 10 and then goes up to 1. Like it'll be like 61, 71.
So it feels like it could be Great American Bash.
That would make sense.
It would.
I have no idea. Like this is going to be like Dynamite. I have literally no idea.
Right. Gargano Theory hop in a vehicle and drive away. So it's kind of Gargano. He's attacked the big man, right? And now he's just getting out of there, which kind of makes sense. And we move into our next match, which is going to be Roderick Strong with the Diamond Mine there to support him versus Asher Hale, who I think we've seen once before, right?
Yeah, he's that
kind of a smaller
guy.
Darby Allin looking guy a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jobber man.
I mean, this match was pretty much a squash match. Hale kind of got one spot of grappling in near the beginning. Not too much notable. I thought Roddy was really aggressive in his mat work early on. I think they're trying to show that he's kind of working a different style now that he's with the Diamond Mine, kind of.
I feel like, that's what they're trying to go for.
I think that was the point here.
Which I think it did, like, he was still Roddy, like...
Yeah, for sure.
But, he definitely did change it up a bit, which I think is, like, that's smart, just, like...
Yep.
To translate this.
And the idea, all the vignettes of training, he's been sort of training to expand his repertoire, which makes sense, right? He uniquely runs Hale's head into the turnbuckle. I think he had him almost like in a stunner grip. Ended up ramming his head into the turnbuckle that way, what I thought was cool. And then hits a big backbreaker. So you got to have some vintage...
Messiah of the backbreaker.
You got to have some vintage Roddy in there, right? Like his backbreakers.
I don't think I'll ever see a Roddy match without a backbreaker.
Of course not. We get a double underhook throw by Strong. And I noted that Suzuki is kind of acting like a coach at ringside, right? He's leaning on the apron, kind of giving advice and things.
And Russ is standing there.
We get a
cool boy.
Jumping knee by Roddy, and then the finish comes when I don't know, what do you call the submission? He's got one arm trapped and he's sort of got an arm bar on the other one. I don't know what it's called. I forget
what it was.
It looks pretty painful, to be honest.
Interesting. I remember looking like interesting. I don't remember what it was actually.
And Hale submits pretty quickly. After the match, Bivens grabs a mic thinking I thought there was going to be a lengthy promo, but he literally just says, "This is only the beginning," and then that was it. So what did you think?
More Diamond Mine.
I thought we're gonna get some reveal of, but we didn't.
So this is basically just a squash, but it's effective. Roddy looked good. I like that he busted out a new submission to win, which I think shows he's changed a bit.
I agree.
And maybe trained with Diamond Mine, because he was never really a submission guy, other than he had the Stronghold, which is basically his renaming of the Boston Crab, right? So I like that they've shown some change here. Great to see Roddy back. He's a great hand in the ring.
Oh my goodness,
And I want a Tyler Rust match now.
You do. We love Tyler Rust on this program, especially you. I like him too.
I love Tyler
Rust. I thought this was a squash match.
And maybe Suzuki too.
I mean, I like that they're tweaking his style, but I personally would have loved him to just come in, look even stronger, hit like 8 different backbreakers, and win with a vicious stronghold. But again, we're saying his training with the Diamond Mine has tweaked his style.
I think they did kind of have to like show some sort of development or like progression or something.
I thought he could have looked stronger, but I'm fine with this match. I thought it was a good start. It's nice to see Raw. And straight up in ring wise, he's one of my favorites. He's so fast. He's so clean. Everything looks great. It's just always been the character stuff that's been his problem. But hopefully Bivens can carry that for him. We then get Grimes. He's shown heading to the ring as we go to a commercial break. We come back, and it's going to be Grimes versus Ari Sterling, right?
Which FK Alex Zane, and he's been on 205 Live a bit, which he's like one of 4 roster members.
Left on the 205. So this match stems from last week when Sterling outside sort of made a crack about Ted DiBiase's age, him being in an old age home or something, and Grimes immediately dropping him with a forearm.
There's a little more to it than just a squash. Their enhancement match.
And this, if I'm correct, right, this is Sterling's NXT debut. He hasn't wrestled on.
I don't
think so.
No, I don't think so, actually, yeah.
It was a fairly quick match, but not quite a squash. So a few things. Early on, Grimes cartwheels out of a Hurricane Rana and then hits one of his own, which I thought was pretty cool. Sterling actually gets a bunch of offense here, right? He gets a moonsault from inside the ropes to the floor, which was cool. A standing twisting moonsault that was cool as well. The finish comes when Sterling misses a moonsault, kind of lands on his feet. Was the plan. He didn't quite nail that, but that's okay. And then he turns around into the cave-in and Grimes wins, basically. LA Knight walks out, says that no one gives a damn that Grimes won. He sees a natural-born loser. Grimes tells Knight that he sucks and challenges Knight to come to the ring if he wants to talk about Ted DiBiase. Grimes says that he wanted the legacy.
Why do they care so much about DiBiase?
Because he's still involved, I guess. Grimes says he wanted the legacy while Knight only wanted the bling. And Grimes will take that bling from Knight next week. Knight does a nah kind of thing. I don't know what that was about. And denies Grimes' challenge. He says he's the $1 million megastar. If Grimes wants it so bad, fine, he can have the match. But we get a stipulation added here. If Grimes loses, he becomes LA Knight's butler. And Grimes then finishes by saying that at Great American Bash, he's going to the moon. What did you think of all of this?
So this definitely felt more like an enhancement match than a squash, because I think Sterling got a decent amount of offense. I thought it looked cool.
He is cool, yeah.
He's athletic and he's got some creative offense. Some of his moves are pretty unique.
And he's not tiny.
And pretty impressive. Yeah. And I once again liked the cave-in kind of out of nowhere for the finish.
Yes.
That was pretty nice. The match was set up as a clear winner because of the stipulation.
100% agree.
Kind of like the Stadium Stampede.
We know what we're getting.
Right, kind of like Stadium Stampede, where it's like, oh, if they break up, like if they lose, they break up.
Obviously, they're like, man, the vignettes we can do with Grimes as his butler, right, is going to be all, and maybe they will be.
Oh, I was thinking Grimes would win.
But you think Grimes will win?
Yeah.
I think it's telegraphed that Grimes loses.
Really?
And we get weeks of vignettes of him being a butler.
I could see that, but then how are they going to get out of that?
Oh, that's funny. We completely disagree on that.
How are they going to get out of that then?
Just somehow eventually.
I
don't. They may not.
That's fair, because who cares? They'll just be like, oh, we need a way to get out of this.
And I kind of think Knight looks good with the belt, and it makes sense. And you get babyface Grimes being the sympathetic butler to this jerk of a guy, right?
The unwilling Virgil.
Right. I can see that happening.
Okay, that's fair.
Sorry.
I guess either way, like,
we'll see, I guess. But I think that's where they're going.
I said it'll be a good win for Grimes, though. Knight's promo was fine, nothing new or special, and Grimes is good as well, I guess.
Yeah, I thought Sterling looked cool. He had one minor slip off the rope at one point in the match, and he sort of recovered by, I think, just delivering knees to the back or something. Grimes, again, so this was smart, because Sterling gets to sort of do a bunch of offense, and Grimes, like you said, right, he gets to put over the suddenness of his finisher kind of out of nowhere. So I think this match did its job. The aftermath was okay, somewhat predictable, right? The Butler thing, as I said, obviously happening. I would be surprised if it doesn't. It may breathe some fun into some segments for a couple weeks, I think. Grimes' makeover to a babyface is obviously complete at this point, right? And I think some good stuff could come of this. I mean, I always prefer people as heels, but if anyone can do a good job of like a somewhat comedic babyface, as long as, again, he doesn't get trapped in this role, Grimes will do a great job, right? So you know he's going to work his butt off for whatever they give him. Mm-hmm. We then get Io Shirai and Zoe Stark are backstage with Mackenzie. The Way sort of walk in and interrupt, stealing a trope from Impact Wrestling where everyone interrupts everyone all show. Indy says they're a real team and a family, and Io and Zoe aren't even friends. That is a fair point. Zoe says they don't need to be family or friends because they respect each other. And that's all you need, I guess. Candice says That's something. And tells Zoe to watch her back after they lose because Io is a short... Oh, it's cute. Sorry, I had... Candace says that's cut, and I couldn't figure out what that means. So Candace says it's cute.
That is quite cut.
It's quite cut. And tells Zoe to watch her back after they lose because Io is a sore loser. Io says Candace has never beaten her, and next week they will become champions. Candace mutters, "We'll see about that," and walks off. What'd you think?
I liked Indy kind of saying like that they're a family and like that Shirai and Stark aren't even friends. I thought that was
that's the way to
line.
go here, right?
Candace's sore loser dig actually makes sense because she suffered that firsthand.
Yes.
Remember, Io lost that cage match to Baszler, and then
beat her down.
That kicked off Shirai's heel turn.
Yep.
Right. So, but being a sore loser is not the same as not being a team player. So the last week's thing, that still doesn't make sense.
Do you think?
But Lorraine's thing actually like that makes sense.
Do you think we're getting a title change out of this?
I don't. Maybe.
I feel like no, but I'm not confident.
I don't think so, but yeah,
I don't think so
that's
either.
fair.
I thought this was fine. The match itself should be pretty good. Candace and Io, we know, have awesome chemistry, right? So as long as the two younger ones can sort of hang with them, it should be a pretty fun match. I think Stark's really good already. I think Indy's getting better. And I kind of like the dynamic of their tag team because they have the tiny... I always like the tiny speed technical person and the larger powerhouse combo, and that's kind of what the Way have going. So I'm looking forward to the match a little bit, to be honest. I thought this was a fine segment. Good. Kyle O'Reilly then comes out to the ring. He says his whole journey has been about testing himself. He wants to fight dudes. He used dudes like you. Well, not quite duders, I guess. Who make him a better fighter. That's why last week was with Kushida, and that's why next week is against Adam Cole.
Ha! You acknowledge him as one of the best, you turd boss.
He says his last match with Cole was gritty, and it proved he can hang in the main event, but Cole doesn't see that and just makes excuse after excuse. He invites Cole to come down and give his latest excuse early, which is kind of funny, which brings Cole down to the ring. However, before he can get too far out, Samoa Joe shows up with security. He asks to excuse the interruption, but he took it upon himself to come out and make sure none of last week's sort of battling takes place tonight. He tells them to have at it, and he gets in the ring. Cole says O'Reilly made it clear he wishes he could be in Cole's shoes. He says O'Reilly probably goes home at night and hopes he has half of Cole's career, but it won't happen. Cole says Kyle is obsessed with him, and it's starting to creep him out. Kyle then breaks it down for him. He beat Cole, put him in the hospital, and 6 weeks later, Cole showed back up and targeted him. Cole says O'Reilly needs the cold, hard facts. No one would be talking about Kyle without Cole. Ooh. He says look back at all the Undisputed Era footage, and in all of it, Cole is next to Kyle and is responsible for all Kyle's success. He was the star out of Undisputed Era and carried him on his back for years. Cole is still the star today. He says the whole world knows it, the locker room knows it, Samoa Joe knows it, and whether he wants to admit it or not, even Kyle's wife knows it. Ooh, you can't do that,
That's
Adam
illegal.
Cole. Kyle tells him never to mention his wife again and says he's ashamed of his association with Cole and ashamed it took him this long to realize what a pathetic piece of... And Cole knocks the mic out of Kyle's hand, and they basically get right, almost forehead to forehead, right? And Joe sort of steps in to break it up. Cole goes for a cheap shot on Joe, but Joe ducks, and Kyle puts Cole in a leg lock.
I think it was a heel hook.
Yes, it was. Cole yells for Joe to get Kyle off him, but Joe walks out of the ring before finally...
He was like, Joe, get him off me, get him off me.
Joe finally calls security to break it up. So Joe kind of like takes his time, right? Sending somebody to break things up, kind of lets Cole suffer in the heel hook for a little bit, which I liked before sending security.
Funny, as much as I like Cole.
Yeah, and what did you think of this?
So I like this. Cole and O'Reilly work really well together, and their lengthy history helps a lot.
Yep.
It lends itself really well to this feud. Them having a standard match should be great. I think it'll probably be better than unsanctioned nonsense.
Yeah, probably.
I thought Cole begging for Joe to get O'Reilly to release the heel hook while Joe kind of stood
just
there
ignores
for a sec.
him. Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Me too. I thought Cole was excellent here, and once Kyle got a bit more serious near the end, I thought he was better. I liked Samoa Joe taking his time to send security into the ring, as we said. And if Kyle were just a little bit better on the mic, I think these two would have a super hot feud. But regardless,
I think he's pretty good.
Regardless, the match is going to be awesome, I have a feeling. So I'm really looking... Next week's show should be, on paper, looks really fun, I think. Mm-hmm.
We got Dynamite Road Rager.
Yeah, that should be a good week for us. We get a vignette from Tian Sha with Xia Li and Boa saying it's time to destroy Jake Atlas and Mercedes Martinez. I just called it Xia Li and
Boa insult their opponents.
And boy, is Xia Li ever going to destroy Mercedes Martinez. Then Mei Ying releases the vapor or whatever out of her mouth, and the match is going to be next. I thought this was a cool looking little segment. It was super short and whatever, but it always looks cool, right? Like visually, this group looks impressive. Yes. The battery is now at 71%, so it's gone up another 10.
Yeah, I could definitely see it ending next week.
Yeah, it feels like it's on pace.
Maybe at the end of the show?
Yeah, could be. Another Diamond Mine sort of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Swerve is then shown getting ready for his match as the other members of Hit Row are sort of with him trying to hype him up. Swerve says that tonight Reed will find out Swerve is just different, is basically all he says. On the way out, Top Dollar just says, it's a Hit Row summer. And I just say everything they've done so far is cool. This is cool, right?
I'm just going to say yes.
Yes. We're on board for all of the Hit Row stuff. We then get the Jake Atlas, Mercedes Martinez versus Tian Sha, which is going to be Xia Li and Boa. So going into this, I talked about I was kind of interested in seeing Boa because I think he has a really cool look to him, but we don't really see much of him in the ring. And this match really didn't solve much of that.
Didn't do him any favors.
No. So this was a competitive match, but it felt like the women really seemed to dominate much of the time. And then there was a sudden unexpected ending to this, right? That we'll talk about. That we now have. So I'm going to go with the notes I took in the time, and we now have since an update on the finish of this match. So I'll talk about it as like what I have in my notes to this point. So the entrance that Tian Sha have is huge, right? And it seems like more than just a mid-carder's entrance. So I feel like they need to pick up the pace everywhere else with this faction, right? They've already got this impressive looking entrance and everything, but they still sort of feel like a mid-card act,
they just don't feel that interesting.
They're
anymore,
sort of just treading water for me right now.
Yeah, I just don't love them that much anymore.
We have a brawl with all four to start before the women sort of leave the ring to let the men start the match. Atlas does like what I call a lucha arm drag, when they flip off the ropes and stuff, and it ends in just an arm drag, which is sometimes disappointing for me. They do all of these cool athletic things, and then it's
the
arm drag.
Escalera or whatever.
Then we get a nice thrust kicked by Lee under Martinez's chin at one point. Martinez is yelling at Mei Ying after hitting a back body drop to Lee, because Mei Ying is, of course, sitting on the ramp in her throne type thing, as she always is. We get a double underhook suplex by Martinez for a near fall. Double team suplex to Boa, but Martinez is distracted by Mei Ying again, starts heading towards her, and Lee attacks her from behind. The finish comes when we get an exploder suplex from Xia Li and the spinning heel kick. And this is, again, going with my original notes, that may have legit caught Martinez as she looks dazed.
Indeed it did.
She looks dazed, barely gets her shoulders up, and Lee sort of breaks character to check on her. You can kind of tell.
It's kind of like called off anyways.
Yeah, the ref stops the match. Again, at that point, I wasn't sure if this was an actual stoppage. It was. And I got confused because they did replay the kick several times, and it looked amazing. And it looked amazing because it turns out she really did just kick her in the face and knock her out, basically. So Mercedes was taken to hospital after this, right, are the reports. Seemingly she's okay, which is good because she got kicked in the head and she was basically out.
She did.
Like, I don't know if she was like, her body was tensing up, because even on the pinfall, right, her shoulders weren't really on the mat. So the ref just kind of threw it out. So yeah, a little bit scary, but it looked awesome. What'd you think of the match itself?
I thought this was a decent match. I don't know, I didn't love it. And
Me either.
Like, I would have liked to see at the very least some of Boa, just because
the men did next to nothing.
Yeah,
right?
It was just like kind of basically another Lee Martinez match that happened to have stupid Jake Atlas involved.
It's a vehicle to have. I felt like Martinez and Lee further their thing without a singles match.
I just don't really care about this feud. Like,
they
had one match like years ago. Like, I really don't think we need this feud.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine, I guess, because you have to have something lower card. But again, so I hope Martinez is okay. Apparently she is. And at this point I was like, or else she just sold amazingly well, because that's what people look like when they get knocked out. But she was. My hope was to see Boa. He barely made an appearance. The suplex and the finishing kick looked great. Obviously too great, probably. Outside of that and the one superplex, I didn't think there was much going on in this match. Like I said, just a way to continue the Lee Martinez feud, and the addition of the men kind of felt tacked on here, right? And kind of pointless.
Especially when Jake Atlas, like, he kind of comes to attack Boa last week. He's like, I guess I joined the fight. Yeah, I guess.
Kinda, for a second or two. We then get an NXT UK promo for a match coming up with A-Kid versus Jordan Devlin, which should be a pretty cool match. I'm looking forward to that.
They stole Jordan Devlin back, which makes me sad.
We then see Ciampa and Thatcher. They're making their way to the ring with a chair. Each of them have a chair, actually, followed by MSK for their sit-down discussion. Ciampa gets his mic, says that the difference between MSK and Ciampa and Thatcher is Ciampa and Thatcher make this look good. I don't exactly know what that means, what he's referring to, but something they make it look better, I guess. Next week at Great American Bash, the champs are indeed the underdogs because Thatcher has never held gold and he's hungry. He says he knows Toothless Timmy isn't a man of many words, but look at him. He's motivated, and there isn't a man alive who elevates a title the way Ciampa does. Carter tries to talk.
Goldie.
Thatcher says to show Ciampa respect. Wesley says, no, you listen, and they all stand up. Wesley says they respect the challengers, and then there's the crowd gets into a Ciampa's gonna kill you. The crowd is really into Ciampa and Thatcher here, I thought. Carter says it's time for everyone to respect them.
Almost too much?
They may be underdogs, but Ciampa and Thatcher are the challengers. Lee says next week the challengers will find out why MSK are champions. Carter says that he doesn't think Thatcher and Ciampa heard them. Carter takes a swing, decks Thatcher as Ciampa and Lee hold their partners back. Ciampa gets in Carter's face, says next week they need to bring their pride and titles because they're taking both, which I thought was kind of cool. A stare down ends the segment, and kind of a kiss on the cheek by Ciampa at the end of it. What did you think?
I thought this was pretty good, pretty straightforward as well. And MSK was so much better just being like serious.
Yes.
And I think it really worked. I think they can be like the fun-loving baby faces, and that's fine. But like in these kinds of situations, this is what they need to do.
Yes.
Like if it's just like a interview or whatever, like they can do their. I won't love it that much, but they can do whatever. But like this was right. Like this is what they should have. This is like the right time to be serious. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think while we were watching it, you kind of turned to me and were like, "That was better," and I agree.
Yeah. And Ciampa and Thatcher are always really good in promos, so I'm looking forward to this match. Definitely.
Yeah, I kind of like this role. It's sort of now morphed into Ciampa kind of speaks for both of them, which I think is okay too. Like Thatcher can just sit there looking intimidating.
Speak a bit, right? Like,
yeah. The crowd really seemed to be into Ciampa and Thatcher here, which is interesting because MSK are like mega baby faces, right? So that's kind of an interesting dynamic. Like you, I thought this was probably MSK's best promo because it was a little bit more serious and not quite so goofy. Felt like the appropriate length for a segment. They didn't drag this out because these are sometimes the segments WWE makes like 5-10 minutes longer than, well, maybe not 10, but you know what I mean, significantly longer than it needs to be. So both of them got to say their piece and they did a good job, and I think the match should be really fun as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mackenzie is then talking to Regal about all the championships being defended next week.
Not the heavyweight title, though.
No.
And not the women's title either. Interesting.
The Grimes night match is now official. Mackenzie asks about the breakout tournament. Regal starts to talk before Saray comes in and says she wants a match. Someone like Toni Storm.
I was like afraid she could say that. She's like, someone like Toni Storm. I'm like, no!
Regal says he'll take that into consideration. I thought it was a fine little segment. Saray got to briefly speak to set up a match. That was basically all it was,
right?
Yeah, but
Toni Storm.
Whatever, it's fine. Saray can crush her and move on.
Yes.
Maybe. We'll see.
No, yes.
The battery is now at 81%.
Okay, it has to be, because
we've been getting like 20 or 30% a week.
We have at least 2 commercials next week, so we go 91, 100, and then maybe towards the end of the show. Yeah, that works.
Look at you doing math in the middle of summer. Look at, not even in school, still doing the hard math. Not so hard. Why are you looking at me like that?
It's not nice.
Hard math for you.
It's your fault.
But yes, it looks like at the pace we're setting with the battery, it should be
right. We get a decent amount of commercial breaks, and like we got like 3 updates this show, right? So we only need like 2 more at the very least, and then the reveal.
Right.
So
yeah, I think we should be getting it next week. We'll see. Cross and Scarlett are now leaving the facility, and Theory attacks Cross. He gets decked. Gargano blindsides him, beating him down and slamming the car door onto him.
Which, that doesn't seem like leaning towards babyface.
Sure does not. Although we find it personally, we're like, yeah, that's awesome. So for us, yes.
I'm like, yeah.
But in general, probably not.
Right.
He cuts a quick promo, but Cross is already up and chokes him out. He knocks down Theory, gets into his car, drives off. Samoa Joe's there, says perhaps Johnny pushed Cross too far. So again,
he was about to run Johnny over, wasn't it? And then like Joe pulled him up or whatever.
Yeah, so it's kind of like
right. And like, see, if this was like Johnny's retaliation attack, that would make a little more sense. But like, he already got his revenge.
So yeah, his attack on Cross was retaliation. So now Cross is back up again, and it's kind of like, I don't know if Samoa Joe.
Because remember he attacked him earlier. That would be like the retaliation.
Right.
This is just like
excessive.
This would be a heel thing.
Yes. And Joe, I don't know if Joe intentionally let Johnny get a bit of a beatdown here as well, but he is a little bit late to arrive to make the save, right? So again, it's just that parking lot, right? It's the most unsafe place in the universe. I would never go into that
parking lot. You wouldn't catch me ever going there.
I would have the car brought right to the door, and I would just jump in the car and get out of there.
Right. If we went to NXT, I would recommend parking in another city.
So as you said, I'm hoping that Johnny then gets his revenge in the form of relieving Cross of the title. Cross heads to main roster.
Yeah, Cross is like, if he's going to the main roster, having a title with him, that's a really big burden, and I think Johnny maybe can help Cross out.
He can take it and do the Asuka thing and just relinquish it, I guess, right?
Yeah, but I think he deserves to lose.
I know you think that. I just don't feel like it's going to be Gargano, though. I mean,
no, obviously
I'm totally fine if it is, but I don't think it will
I think it'll be O'Reilly or Pete Dunne.
So commentary then run down card for the Great American Bash that looks pretty fun next week. We get the NXT Tag Team Championship match, MSK, Thatcher, and Ciampa. Women's Tag Team Champion match, The Way versus Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. Or no,
Stark
that's
and
not
Shirai.
right. Sorry,
How
Stark
dare
and
you
Shirai.
ever think it was Shotzi Blackheart when it's not? It
bad.
is not Shotzi Blackheart.
$1 million championship match. LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes. $1 million. If Knight wins, Grimes must become his butler. Yes, we're laughing again because his mother, my wife, when she says
$1
million man every time and can't fathom how that's not, she just doesn't hear how that's not
$1 million man.
Everybody else says
you gotta emphasize
$1 million man.
Right.
And we get Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly, which I think will probably be the main event, which is funny because it's non-title, but
there's no title. Like there's
match.
no NXT or women's title, so
we then
that's fine because that match deserves it.
We then get our, I guess, what is the main event, right? Which was sort of snuck up on us. It's Swerve Scott with Hit Row versus Bronson Reed for the North American Championship. So again, I'm already going, okay, so it's the main event. Maybe they will have some sort of finish, and it can't.
Yeah, but
and then I start to worry because they can't be putting the title on Swerve already, randomly on this show. So, and I really don't want Swerve to take a loss right now. So what the heck are they going to do?
I guess you would have to do some sort of like hit row interfere. I guess.
Right, something a DQ, something.
Because a DQ loss, that's not really a loss. Like, come on.
So I was, but then
right. Well.
I was confused. Anyways, just a quick note before anything even happens here. Swerve's charisma since going full heel and forming this group
he's got a look.
It's off the charts, man.
Yeah, it's not
and
when they're lip syncing their theme, it's not like Scarlett where it's weird.
No. So this is a clear contrast in styles. You have a baby face that's going to have to deal with an entire heel faction at ringside, right? So it's the classic.
It's kind of weird when you do David Goliath, but Goliath is the face.
Power versus speed and sort of a lone wolf against kind of a pack, right, is what we've got going here.
Oh, snap. Animal references.
So Reed is overpowering to start, as you would expect, and it kind of starts slowly. They exchange holds for a while on their feet. I thought there were really good facial expressions by Swerve as he kind of looked shocked at various points, right, by Reed's power, and I thought Swerve did a good job of sort of selling that with his face. Reed easily presses Swerve, drops him face first on the mat. Reed then methodically dominates the early portion of this match with kind of basic power offense. He pulls Swerve off the ropes at one point, hits a splash kind of all at the same time, which I thought was a really cool transition. Mm-hmm. He attacks, Swerve then attacks Reed's leg, attempts a powerbomb off the apron, but Reed just kind of sits down on him. Swerve lands a pump kick, double stomp off the apron into the barricade during the break. So some actually really cool stuff happened during the break. They did replay it for us, which was nice. German suplex by Swerve for 2 after using the ropes for momentum that looked pretty cool. Leaping flatliner by Swerve, and I know a flatliner's such a basic thing, but I really like them.
Yeah,
and
he rolls,
Swerve gets some snap on it too, right?
He rolls through and leaps through, and there's the one part where you remember he kind of shoots up and does that drop kick.
Yeah,
just he gets good jump on, and then he does get some snap on it.
He does. Swerve gets caught and hit with a Death Valley driver by Reed. We get a corner splash and a senton by Reed. The finish comes. Hit Row kind of get involved to stop Reed from climbing up top for the tsunami.
Tsunami splash.
Top Dollar then gets thrown through kind of the plexiglass fence.
He's when they're arguing, the ref, he's like, "Ref, watch this." He runs at Reed, but then just gets completely sidestepped and just goes crashing through the plexiglass.
And then Reed picks up Ashante and throws him basically the same spot over the barricade onto Dalla. We get a house call that looked nice as Reed is coming back into the ring.
Limp over the bottom rope.
Yeah, he's coming in. Yeah, over the bottom rope. Then we get a 450 by Swerve onto Reed's back as his legs are still tangled up in the ropes, and Swerve Scott gets the pin and becomes the new North American champion. What the heck is going on here? What did you think?
I thought this was great. I liked this match. Great choice for a main event. Reed is good now, and Swerve has always been pretty good, at least in the ring. Like, he's definitely coming into his own as a character, but I think his in-ring skills have never really been in doubt that much. And I am coming to like Reed now.
Yeah.
Finishing sequence is cool, and Top Dollar really went for it when he went through the panel.
Did.
It looked good. The house call 450 splash combos to win was cool. I'm really happy, and I'm kind of surprised that he won here, but great for him because he deserves it. He's come to the point where he deserves it a year ago. No.
I'm a bit worried. It was just so sudden and
I'm
nervous.
I said he needed the title, so
Absolutely.
Hey, here we go. And once they get a little better, I think Top Dollar and Adonis need the tag titles. They just need to get to the point where they are worthy of that.
That whole that faction with all gold would look pretty cool.
Unfortunately, I think Reed maybe main roster bound, which sucks because I actually kind of like him now. So
that's what it feels like, right? What else?
What we were kind of talking about, and I remember you said it's like he's big, but he's not really kind of Vince big.
No.
And he could be made a joke, and
that's my concern.
Vince doesn't even seem to like Keith Lee. Keith Lee's freaking insane.
Yeah, I don't know what else.
Reed's good, but he can't do the stuff if Vince doesn't like Keith Lee, how's he gonna like Bronson Reed? You know what I mean?
I don't know what to think other than Reed's going
what
to Money in the Bank.
What if he becomes Otis?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, something like that. I really hope he doesn't go up, but I'd be lying if I said I don't think he will, because he was on main event. He was at the tapings, I think, or he was there yesterday, I think it was.
Yes.
Right, so anyways, this is a good match and for sure the right result.
Something has to be going on, right? Because this is an unannounced, unpromoted match with
and
a championship title change on TV.
Not even it's not even they announced it. If they had done this on the Great American Bash,
right?
That's a little different.
And that's the weird thing, right? You have a major show next week.
Right, this is an unannounced title change the week before a TV special.
So I everything kind of feels like bye-bye Bronson Reed, but
which that sucks because I actually like him now.
And again, there's very little chance.
A year ago, if you had taken him out, I'd be like, okay, bye.
There's very little chance he'll be used well in his next stop.
Right.
So R.I.P. Bronson Reed.
Right, Cross, Scarlett, Shotzi, okay, take them, but I kind of like Bronson Reed now, so that kind of sucks.
This match started out slowly, I thought, with Reed in control, and then picked up when Swerve was on offense. I thought that there was just enough interference by Hit Row. It didn't dominate the match, but they did provide a bit of a distraction,
good,
especially at the finish.
Yeah, you don't want too much of it.
Yeah, Swerve still looks legit, but his friends got involved a little bit, right? A good match. I was
kind of like an advantage.
Obviously surprised by the outcome. My assumption would be that this was a no finish delay to the feud sort of thing. Then it was the main event, and I was confused. The push.
But I'm happy. Swerve's my boy.
The push, like we're saying, must be to get Reed off NXT. And if they are doing that, Hit Row's the hottest thing going, so why not just put a title on Swerve at this point, I guess. I enjoyed the match. It was good. I don't think it was amazing, but I think it was really good. I think I would have preferred Swerve chase a little bit longer, but, clearly there's a reason for this.
I wanted the title on him, so
I do. I just feel like you could have built and promoted this more.
Yeah, I agree.
You left some money on the table, as they say.
Yeah, but I did want Swerve with the belt, so I'm not gonna complain.
Yep. So what did you overall thoughts on this show?
So overall, I thought this was a good show. I thought the opener was good. Sets up. I think it should be a good match next week. The women's tag.
Yep.
I'm happy about the return of the breakout tournament because I always love a good tournament. I think we can both agree with that.
Yep.
And last time we brought in a bunch of new stars who are still prominent today, like the new and North American champ Swerve, the former champ Bronson Reed, one of our favorites Cameron Grimes, and Dexter,
Loomis.
Almost also Dexter Loomis. Yes. The Cross and Gargano segment was fine. This feud is weird unless we get full face Gargano because I feel like. If you put babyface Gargano, like I said, the Gargano that you would think of right away against Cross, that makes a little sense to me as much as I don't like Cross. He's the big man kind of I feel like if Gargano was the face, he would just like sell the crap out of that.
And
you know,
it's kind of like they're both tweeners at this point, right?
I feel like just Gargano if like Cross went uber heel and Gargano went the opposite direction.
Right.
Gargano would sell the crap out of that.
He would
probably make him look much better. Based on his attack later in the show, I don't think he is yet a babyface, but we'll see. Because, like, we did think he was kind of leaning to it, but then with the later attack, I was like, is he?
Yeah,
you know,
it's hard to tell.
It seems to be on a segment-to-segment basis.
Yeah, and it keeps the match
almost
a little less interesting to me because roles aren't defined very clearly, right?
Strong's return match was good, make him look good. I do want to see more of Dynamite, hopefully next week, because... like, it does seem to be, like, pay-per-view where they announce stuff, but it's technically a TV show, so hopefully we'll get something for Dynamite, whether it's, like, a promo or segment or a Tyler Russ match.
Right.
I'm still pushing for it.
Yeah.
Grimes versus Ari Sterling was good and as an enhancement match, and I thought Sterling looked pretty good before his inevitable defeat.
I think there's potential for him for sure.
Especially, like, if they're... I think he'd be cool in the Cruiserweight division eventually.
Yep. Yeah.
Zoe and Io... / the Ways segment was pretty good. Should be a good match, like I said already. Speaking of good matches, Cole and O'Reilly segment was pretty good. I think Cole's always been a good talker, and I think O'Reilly's really starting to get better and more comfortable speaking. Still some room to improve, like you said, but so I'm excited for that. Mixed tag match wasn't bad, but I wasn't exactly a fan.
No, me either. It's one of the low points, I thought. The
tag team face-off segment, I like that.
Yep.
That was good. MSK were really cool being serious.
It was nice to see them cut a good promo, yeah.
The main event was a great match, a very pleasing result for me.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's too soon or not, still, I'm very happy about this. I think this week was good. Like, I feel like they've been pretty good lately, but not quite cracking the A range, so a good B+ again.
Nice. Overall, I thought this wasn't as strong as some episodes lately, including last week, which was, remember, it was 3 like awesome matches on that show.
That had the tag match I really liked, right?
Yeah, it was a step behind that. For me, I think, surprisingly, the opener might have been my match of the night. I got into that women's match.
I might have gone with the main event.
I think you probably would. The main event was quite good as well. I thought in between Strong and Grimes kind of just had enhancement matches, and the Lee Boa Martinez Atlas was okay.
That was kind of disappointing, although I didn't really expect much.
Yeah, with a sudden end with the knockout there. I liked the announcement of the breakout tournament. Cross Gargano segment was okay. Cole was great. O'Reilly was fine in their face-to-face. Everything involving Hit Row is cool as usual. The Grimes Knight segment was fine. And shows some potential, that feud, I think. Not a lot of stuff stood out on this show, but they're just kind of getting everything in order for next week's Great American Bash, which is looking pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I thought this show was fine to good, nothing special. Outside of a surprising title change that people should probably check out, I gave this show a B. I thought it was a solid, not spectacular show. A little weaker than last week, just based on there were 3 really strong matches, and I think we got 2 this week, right? So good show nonetheless.
Nice.
All right, so let's move into talking about a little bit of trivia, and that is what we call Off the Top of His Head. All right, so this week I went different because I didn't want to just go back to the trivia cards. That's when I'm feeling really lazy. So I went with, why don't we start talking about specific wrestlers, because I can pull out lots of stuff. So we're going to start with somebody who's at the top of the card in WWE right now, and that is one Robert Lashley. You ready for some Lashley? Some Bobby Lashley trivia?
Sure.
True or false? Bobby Lashley is older than me. Dun 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 dun. True. He was born in 1976, that old man.
By 1 year.
So he's 1 year older than I am.
Just barely.
And he only looks a tiny bit better. Like, he's only in slightly better.
A little better.
He only has 100 pounds of muscle on me.
You have, like, very much hair, and he has literally no hair on his face and head.
Well, that's true. Well, I'm talking about more his physique and mine is what I'd like to be similar. But that's not.
Yeah, I dream on.
This is one where I'm going to... I think you don't know it, but it could be one of those, like, why do you know that? In what year did Bobby Lashley debut for WWE?
2005.
Why? Like, why? Why do you know that right away?
I don't know.
All right, you won't know this one.
I think I just watched the thing.
Who did he defeat in his debut match?
Simon Dean.
Stop. I was like that. I thought I was being mean putting that one in. So you've recently seen something on Robert Lashley?
Yeah.
Okay. How many times did Lashley hold the WWE ECW title?
2 times.
Correct. Lashley became the 3rd African-American world champion in WWE history. Who were the first 2?
Ron Simmons?
No, that was in WCW.
Oh, we're going Booker T?
Yes, and?
Kofi Kingston.
No. Well, he was later. Before that. Big megastar. How are you forgetting him? With an eyebrow. Wow.
The Rock?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess. I was going to say Ezekiel Jackson.
Which famous billionaire did Lashley represent at WrestleMania 23?
Your favorite?
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is correct.
The Trumper.
Yes. Amazing. True or false?
Trumpet.
Lashley is a former X Division champion.
True.
In Impact. That is correct.
Because I remember seeing the picture. He's got like the X Division title, the King of the Mountain Legends TV title. Remember, the one that has many names.
Yeah.
And the TNA title. It's like he's got two on his shoulders and someone's like holding
right.
one above his head.
So you have a photographic memory on top of all this. Perfect.
Yeah.
At a Slammiversary, Lashley finally defeated which current WWE main eventer by knockout in a tap-out or knockout match to start his third reign as the TNA World Heavyweight Champion? Pardon?
Drew Galloway.
There you go.
Whatever,
so I'm going to count that as wrong. You
what?
didn't know.
What? He's the only, I was thinking, top guy now, had to be Drew.
That was me putting that hint in there. You're welcome.
What?
Lashley is one of two wrestlers to have won the WWE, ECW, and TNA/Impact World Championships. Who is the other wrestler to accomplish this?
Rob Van Dam.
Correct. I thought there was going to be multiple guesses for that one. I thought you would get there, but not right away.
I was just Rob Van Dam.
In Impact, Lashley spent time as part of the Beatdown Clan. Who were the other members?
MVP.
And currently in Ring of Honor Wrestling.
Oh, Jay Lethal.
No. Currently part of LFI.
Roosh.
No. Was on The Bachelor. Pretty sure. That's the worst hint ever, but
that's terrible.
Kenneth King.
Oh,
Kenny
nice.
King.
Oh yeah, because I remember. Oh yeah, in that season, The Bachelor.
That was remember when Lashley came back to WWE. I was telling you,
right,
he was awesome with MVP. That pairing worked really well.
Yeah,
and Lashley
I know he was with MVP.
And Lashley was actually cutting pretty good promos at that time too. Which WWE and Impact megastar did Lashley defeat in his opponent's last match with Impact? So somebody major's last Impact match, Lashley beat him.
Samoa Joe.
No.
AJ Styles.
Think bigger. Bigger star.
AJ Styles.
No.
Bobby
I would argue
Roode.
still bigger. Bigger. Started in WWE, went to Impact, went back.
Christian.
No.
Oh yeah, Christian sucks.
How are you? I'm surprised you're not getting this one. Currently retired. One of my favorites. I argue he might be the best wrestler I ever saw.
Rob Van Dam.
No. Best wrestler, who do I always say?
Shinsuke
Overall.
Nakamura.
No. Can do babyface, can do heel, can wrestle.
Kurt Angle.
There you go. Kurt Angle. Wow.
Kurt Angel.
You don't know anything about wrestling.
You don't know anything about anything.
On the
Kurt
April
Angel.
9th, 2018 episode of Raw, the night after WrestleMania 34, Lashley made his return to WWE, becoming a member of the Raw brand where he confronted and attacked who?
Elias.
Why do you know that? Because it was recent? It's only 3 years
ago. It was with the stalling suplex.
Wow, if you say so. Lashley would later team with Braun Strowman at Backlash in a victorious effort against who?
Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Yes. On September 17th episode of Raw, Lashley introduced his new manager. Who was it?
Leo Rush.
Correct. On January 14th, 2019 episode of Raw, Lashley won the Intercontinental Championship for the first time in his career in a triple threat match that also involved who?
Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose.
Correct. Very good.
Dean Ambrose was the champion.
Yeah, two more. At Royal Rumble 2019, Lashley entered the Royal Rumble match as the 26th entrant, but was eliminated in 13 seconds by who?
Seth Rollins.
Correct. I actually had a hint of the eventual winner.
I remember because he put Rollins through an announce table after.
Nice.
That's the only reason I knew.
You know some things. You don't know Kurt Angle, apparently, but everything else. You've got some sort of blind spot for Kurt Angle.
Give me some credit.
Final one. At WrestleMania 35, Lashley lost the Intercontinental title to who?
Demon Finn Balor.
Finn Balor. Here's a bonus one to make it impossible. How many days was Lashley's reign before he lost?
62.
No.
47.
27. Very brief.
You suck, Lashley.
Right. Excellent job. You do know a lot about Bobby Lashley, but nothing about Kurt Angle, apparently. And poor Drew Galloway.
Oh, I said...
Drew McIntyre's a totally different person. I don't understand what the problem is.
Sure.
But anyways, great job. So that will take us back to talking about some wrestling from this week, and that will be in our AEW Dynamite review.
And so I saw that I think that Jericho was on commentary, and so
Yes.
he was. I thought it was just for the main event, but he was on
The whole show.
And it is kind of different because he's a babyface now. Last time he was a heel,
And he
I
gets
thought that was funny.
He gets a full-on entrance just to be the commentator, right? Like his theme, everybody's singing, makes a lengthy entrance to this one. Yeah, so babyface commentary from Jericho this time.
Yep. And our opener is Penta,
El
Zero, Miedo, and Eddie Kingston against the Young Bucks in the tag title eliminator match.
Yeah. I like that they've made eliminator kind of a thing. Like if you beat the champs, you get a shot, and they've actually made it a match. But
I think like the eliminator should be like an actual concept where it's like, I think if you're in the top 5, like...
Well, it's kind of silly that a match that you win to get you a title shot is called an eliminator.
Right, that's what I mean. Like,
it's kind of the opposite of what you're doing. But I like that they've made it a thing. I mean, maybe the choice of names isn't great.
I would say, like, it should be like if you're number 5 ranked, although if you're number 5, you already get a title shot. Anyway, okay, fine. If you're number 4 ranked, right, and you want a title shot now, like, say you face the champs in an eliminator match, and so if you win, you get bumped up to a title shot right away, right? But then, like, if you lose that, you would get eliminated from the top 5.
That would make sense.
And then you'd have to work your way back up.
Because it's more of like a qualifying match than an eliminating match, right?
Right. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like they should actually take the eliminator stipulation to heart.
But a great choice for an opener here,
yes. I thought. Kingston's got more of a beard now.
Yep. Speaking of facial hair.
And the Bucks have awful mustaches. Like,
amazing heel.
They just look so bad.
Facial hair.
Like, Matt's rocking, like, the Rick Rude, kind of like the pencil mustache, and then Nick's got, like, the Triple H handlebar.
Yep,
or, like,
sure does.
Yeah.
Like, the mutton chops connected to the mustache, so only his chin is clean shaven, right? And the rest it's pretty gross looking stuff.
Yeah,
but great for their heel characters, honestly.
Yeah, Nick just looks terrible, but like...
It's awesome. In a good way.
No, yeah, I know. It just like, it's supposed to look... It does truly look awful. It's supposed to look awful, and it does. It looks
They look
terrible.
like they're like 70s, early 80s wrestlers kind of thing. It's funny.
Yeah, Matt looks really weird, because I'm used to him either having no facial hair or a beard. Right? And Nick, I'm just used to having not facial hair. But anyways, kind of a brawl to start the match. Super kick from the apron to Nick by Penta. Chops and a body slam to Matt by Kingston. Like that groin drop kick thingy that Death Triangle did, but this time Kingston's the one holding him. From Penta and Kingston. Penta tags in officially. Corner kick by Penta. Matt avoids the package pile driver, which they keep calling Fear Factor. I'm pretty sure that's not what Fear Factor is.
It didn't used to be. I don't know if they're transitioning it to be that now, but...
Yeah,
it was something else before.
But he sends Penta into the corner as Nick hits a Damagiri. Corner clothesline and a Damagiri, and then a cannonball and a basement Damagiri by the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Nick was just like on point with those.
Looked really good.
Yeah, Nick tags in and he chokes Penta on the second rope. Yeah, that was pretty nice.
Yep.
Matt tags in, and then they get a double back elbow and a simultaneous fist drops, which is like kind of like that's like old school.
It is old school tandem offense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nick tags in a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker on the outside on Matt by Penta, crossbody to Nick by Penta, and he tags in Kingston. Bit of a hot tag flurry capped off by a German suplex for 2 by Kingston, which is pretty nice. Mm-hmm. Exploder suplex on the outside by Kingston on Matt. Stereo moonsault and a splash off the apron from Nick by the Bucks. Where so Matt did a standing moonsault. At the same time, Nick hit it like a splash off the apron.
Looks cool.
Which back in the ring for 1 count. Knees to the midsection by Nick. Matt tags in and with some rapid punches and a fist drop. Nick tagged back in. Back kicks by the Bucks, and Kingston fires up and unleashes some chops. Knee strike by Nick, who then takes out Penta as well. Kingston counters a double team and crotches Nick. Rapid headbutts by Kingston and a superplex. Penta gets a hot tag and gets a flurry. Kicks, chops, DDT, sling blade, and a corkscrew code red, which was a very near fall.
Yeah, great hot tag, I thought.
Matt counters package pile driver and catapults Penta into a Damagiri by Nick. This time face first. Nick tags in, corner rising knee, Damagiri, and then a forearm by Nick. Penta super kicks Nick while he's upside down in the corner. He kind of like goes in the corner, like
he's doing a headstand in the corner.
Headstand in the corner. Yeah, he gets super kicked.
Yep.
Then Kingston hits him with the German suplex, and Penta hits a backstabber.
A really nice.
And Matt is able to break the pin. Yes, at the last minute.
Yep.
Crossbody by Matt to Kingston on the ramp. A strike exchange with Nick and Penta. And while he kind of is distracting the ref, a mule kick, a sneaky mule kick low blow by Nick. The Bucks mocked Lucha Bros by hitting the package power driver double foot stomp move. That
for a very believable near fall there.
Right, which was a pretty good near fall with Kingston able to break the pin. And that was like the finishing move for Penta and Phoenix. Kingston takes it to the Bucks with chops and an exploder suplex to Nick. And then the Bucks barrage him with super kicks, which was pretty nice. Good Brothers distract the ref, but Penta ducks the cold spray from Color, which finds its mark on Matt. Kaz, the Elite Hunter, comes in to take out Cutler, and Penta hits a Tope con Hilo on Nick and the Good Brothers. Penta hits a package pile driver, and then Kingston nails Matt with the spinning back fist to actually get the win, which is interesting because they're probably like the least official team of the teams that the Bucks have faced, and so they're beating them. Non-title match, but still like beating them, right? Which I think is interesting. But I thought this was a great opener. The action was all over the place. It was tough to take notes on, but boy, was it entertaining. Penta and Kingston work pretty well together, considering they haven't teamed much, I will say. The Bucks' mustaches look awful, and I hate them, but I know what they're going for. I respect their commitment to the gimmick, like shaving off the beard. Even, like, Nick's, like, the hair dye or whatever. Like, they're committing. There were some sick sequences and strike exchanges, and this is for sure your ideal opener. Since Eddie and Penta won, this means we'll get this match again, which you told me it's going to be a street fight next week. I believe
I read that this morning,
for the titles, which will give a bigger stakes and should mean it'll probably get some more time. So I'm looking forward to seeing this again.
Yep.
Overall, I love this, and I'm happy we're getting a rematch.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling that this result might happen because it was not for the titles, and I'm okay with it.
Right, but I feel like they're trying to preserve the Bucks losing. But
and the loss doesn't hurt the Bucks. It helps the rivalry a little bit for me. Really fun finishing sequence, and it sees the numbers game fail for once, right? They had Cutler and whatever there, and it didn't really help them. I thought this was a nice appearance by Frankie to come out and sort of even the odds here. Excellent match. As long as you can forgive the lack of officiating, right? Which I can. A lot of people will struggle and say, oh, the refs don't take control and who knows who's legal and everybody's in. I don't care. I've just accepted that that's how Dynamite matches are, and I'm okay with it. So I thought this was a great opener. Young Bucks just continue to have fun matches, even while working a more heel style. They definitely do less high flying.
They know what they're doing.
They do less high flying than their babyface personas, but I thought this was a great opener as well.
Next we got Christian Cage and Jungle Boy. They're still interacting. Christian says Jungle Boy can take something from his loss last week and learn from it. He says Jungle Boy will be the champion at some point. No, duh. Christian says Jungle Boy could be the first superstar to get 50 wins tonight. And Luchasaurus is back. Yay.
Yep.
He returns. Thanks, Christian, for having Jungle Boy's back. And so now, yes, Christian's back. I don't want them affiliated. That's just no. Christian says something weird. I didn't remember.
It was basically that he's part dinosaur. Like his ancestry is part... I forget what dinosaur he said. Dumb. I thought that part was really lame. So again, Jungle Boy is silent again, basically, right? Which is fine.
He must really suck.
I didn't think this was terrible, but here's my hope, right? The only way they can save this is that Christian is just going to turn and be an absolute monster and beat the hell out of Jungle Boy. That's where I really hope this goes, because Christian, as this wise babyface from another company, is not working for me at all right now. I find his promos really just... overly polished, and I don't know, there's something about them bug me.
Boring.
But if he wants to just turn and kill Jungle Boy, I'm here for that. So I'm hopeful that that's maybe where this is going. But otherwise, I don't know, it's just the babyface veteran mentoring a kid that I don't really think needs it. So anyways, the line about being a dinosaur was lame as he walked off.
This was
Luchasaurus.
Fine, I guess. I didn't really love it. I'm happy to see Luchasaurus back, though. And I hope this means Christian doesn't have to be around Jungle Boy.
Unless he turns on him and kills him.
I don't even want that, because I don't want Christian to do things.
You know me. If he turns heel, I'll give him a chance.
You know me. I won't.
No, you won't.
Ethan Page in-ring interview is next.
And Paige has massive heat from the crowd. Holy cow, I made a note of that.
Yeah.
Like, they hate this guy, which is great for him.
Right. Paige says what he's been doing isn't enough, and his goal is to exterminate Darby Allin, and he struggles to speak as, like you said, the boos rain down. Paige says he threw Darby downstairs, he threw him into the crowd, he busted his head on the indies, and he says crippling Darby physically won't work anymore, and being Darby in a coffin match will cripple Darby mentally. And Paige says every time Darby goes for a coffin drop, thinks about doing a coffin drop, or does a coffin drop, he will think of Ethan Page shutting him in the coffin, which I like, because it's just like his ego's like, I want you to, like, you know what I mean? Like, that image to burn in his head, like.
Yep.
I think that's funny. Sting comes out with like a coffin which has a sheet over it. Oh my god, it's Darby Allin. And he attacks the Men of the Year. Poor Scorpio Sky once again takes the Scorpion Death Drop. Darby gouges at the eyes of Ethan Page. He gets out and he says Darby knows he can't beat Page out 100%, calls off the match. And he says he wants Darby to sign that he won't touch Page before the match. And if he behaves, Page will consider instating the match for Fyter Fest.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It feels like they wanted to find a way to delay the match, I guess.
So I like this. Like, I like the promo. Like, I think Paige is really good.
I thought that was great, and then it sort of dropped
how he can go
after
from
that.
calm and cocky he flies off the handle.
Yep.
I don't know why the match had to be pushed back, but I guess it doesn't matter too much. And the attack was just standard. Like, I guess it sets up the pushback. Like, again, I don't really understand why, but the promo was awesome.
I like the promo a lot too, and it honestly. Sometimes coffin matches or casket matches, I think it's kind of a lame stipulation, but him going through all the things he's done to Darby, right? Like, short of killing the guy, and he just keeps coming back. It's almost like necessitates this match. I thought it helped him.
That does help, yeah.
Listing all the things he's done, and like, I've basically almost killed this kid, and he keeps coming back, so we need to end this with a coffin match, which that kind of makes sense to me.
That does help, yeah.
I thought the crowd took away a little bit because they started yelling, "We can't hear you," and Paige has just tried to power through it, which I thought after the massive heat he got at the beginning. The Allen in the coffin stuff was kind of lame. I also didn't love Sting just kind of casually sauntering into the ring and taking out Scorpio Sky. It didn't make Sky look super strong. He just kind of gets hit with the Scorpion Death Drop, right? So I really liked the promo, and then everything after that I thought was just whatever. And again, I don't know why they're moving the match. I don't care that much, but it feels like they just were looking for a way to do that.
Right, and next we got, this is the only time I will acknowledge him as such, Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Jack Evans, because I had titled this The Battle of the Jacks. And
broken down and summarized and analyzed by Jack.
Yes.
Jack versus Jack, talked about by Jack.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And Angelico is not with Jack Evans for the entrance.
No.
So they
I meant to show you.
They just want to make me sad.
A clip of Angelico, I think it was in Lucha Underground, hitting a ridiculous drop kick from like the balcony, on drop kicking a guy off of a ladder in the middle of the ring. It's pretty cool. And I told you, he did some incredible dives off of stuff in Lucha Underground. Mm-hmm. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So we start with some holds and counters. Jungle Boy attempts to get the snare trap, but Evans is quick to get a rope break to prevent it. A leaping kick by Evans. Overhand chop in the Escalera, kind of like the arm drag thing you were talking about.
The Lucha arm drags?
Yes, the kind of like the Escalera up in the corner. Drop kick by Jungle Boy and his rebound lariat. A Tree of Woe drop kick by Jungle Boy after superplex escape. Snare trap by Jungle Boy is locked in, and Evans taps after a pretty short match. Mm-hmm. So the HFO look to attack, but Christian and Jurassic Express manage to prevent it. Christian chokes Hardy with his jacket, and Cage fights off Jack Evans as Hardy escapes. So I thought this was fine, a standard kind of squash enhancement match. Mm-hmm. Don't love Jack Evans being used like that, but can't say he hasn't been.
That's all he'll be.
Like, he hasn't been treated better to this point.
Yep.
The aftermath is also kind of standard, and of course, Angelico comes out after the entrances. Like, come on, AEW, really? Like, I did not like Christian fighting Hardy and then easily taking Jack Evans out of the ring with a few punches. Like, yeah, just like, oh, he can just fight off another guy without a care in the world. And I also don't care about this Christian Matt Hardy feud at all, as it's something we should absolutely not be getting at this time and age.
Yeah, this match wasn't long. I thought it was pretty entertaining while it lasted. Both of these guys are crazy athletic. They worked a really fast, fun match. Jungle Boy, I think they were trying to get that snare trap over as his submission finisher, right? Which this did a good job of that. The aftermath was fine, I guess. I'm pretty numb at this point to all these run-ins after matches with groups of people fighting. And just like you said, I have no desire to see Christian Matt Hardy in 2021 in a match. So I don't really care that much. And just the constant run-ins after matches, they're all starting to run together for me. I have trouble sort of saying much unique about them because it happens all the time right now.
MJF got a promo. He says he has outclassed Jericho in every way, and Jericho should know when to quit. But Jericho's instead attacked MJF and the Pinnacle and ruined some of their stuff. MJF says Jericho used to be cool, and now he's a joke who continuously stoops low. Like, he mentions, like, the bubbly and, like, saying, like, this is the best you can come up with, kind of.
Right.
MJF says he'll announce the stipulations for a match with Jericho next week, kind of like what he did with Cody. Remember, like, the belt lashing, and Cody had to face Wardlow in the cage match?
Right.
Maybe Jericho will have to face Wardlow in a cage match and do moonsault at the top.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
MJF says if he wins, Jericho has to leave him alone, and for now, he will take out his anger on Sammy Guevara. MJF says he was the future, and after tonight, Sammy will be the future because he shouts he is the present.
Right.
Gets really angry.
Kind of makes sense.
And MJF says Sammy should tell all the same simps that he is better than him, and he knows it.
Yeah, I thought this was another strong promo from MJF.
Yeah, that's all I wrote. Just another great MJF
There's not
promo.
Much chance I'm going to say he doesn't. But again, this feud needs to get moving and get over with for me. It's all running together as similar stuff each week right now. It's just the constant back and forth, the constant battling. There's not much new and exciting coming out of this. I'm all for the stipulation introduced here as long as MJF beats Jericho and we're done with this. They need to start doing something else. I think praise
the Pinnacle is like a
AEW.
really good faction, and I think they need to start doing something.
I usually praise AEW for sort of the length of their feuds and kind of making things last, but this one, for me,
I think you have to know when that's appropriate. Yep. Like the Page Omega thing, like last year, that was
exactly
superb.
Yep. So this was another strong promo, but it's just one of many in this never-ending feud between these two groups.
Right. Andrade El Idolo gets a quick thing.
Yeah.
He says he'll make an example of Matt Sydal. He challenges Matt something, he calls him, to a match at Road Rager, which I think that's a great first match for him because Sydal's great in the ring.
Sydal's the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. Get a win over me and look good.
Who was it that was nicknamed the gatekeeper?
He actually called him that, remember?
Was it Sydal?
No, I don't think it was. We were watching something, and they're like, it was, I was watching UK, and they said it about Jack Starz.
Right, Jack Starz.
They literally called him the gatekeeper. Oh, which is kind of true.
Poor guy.
I thought Andrade was cool here. I thought it was funny. It made me laugh because he asks for Sydal's name, and then still doesn't use it, even after he gets told what it is, right? He just keeps calling him, what was it, Matt something or whatever? Maybe he's Jake something's relative. Maybe Jake something's debuting.
Oh, snap.
I thought this was inappropriate. They kept it short. It made me laugh once because he finds out his opponent's name and then is like, still don't really care what it is.
What's the name?
So I thought this was successful and no Vicky, which is better, right? With no Vicky, please.
So we got Kenny Omega next. And so I remember you were saying like the mutton chop handler mustache. That was Kenny. Nick's just got the handlebar.
Oh, is that right?
No, but Kenny's got
Kenny's the full.
He's got the handlebar, but then it's like the munch up. It's like
that's right.
Basically his usual beard, but then he just shaved off his chin.
The chin.
Like,
that's right.
His is terrible too, but like
in a good way.
You know what they're doing.
Yep.
Omega says he woke up today feeling like a king. Definitely not by looking in the mirror.
I liked here to start. Like, it looks like it's going to be an interview segment with him and Tony, and Kenny just takes the mic from Tony, and then Tony ends up leaving because Kenny's not giving it. He starts asking his own questions to himself, which I thought was fun.
Omega lists off the people he's beat and adds in Jungle Boy after, I think that was last week, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think so.
Omega says there's no one left and he'll have to take time off, but people can see him defending his other titles. And the Dark Order come out. I'm just like, yes. Here we go. We're starting here.
Because I was honestly, in my notes, it's like I was wondering what the point of this was, and then Dark Order
It's just like, well, as soon as he says there's no other talents, you know it's coming. Evil Uno is going to be like, he's basically the one speaking for the Dark Order.
Right.
He laughs at the no challengers comment, and he says he thinks differently. Omega jokes that Uno will send out 5, and I thought that was really funny.
It always 5's the butt of all the jokes.
Omega did beat him already.
Yep. They had a lengthy match, though. Remember, I couldn't stand it.
It was like 12 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, that was one of the ones where I'm like, why are they giving this guy so much?
Right.
Yeah.
Omega says none of them are ready. Uno agrees, but he thinks Omega knows someone who does, and someone who they befriended. Uno says he's the number 1 ranked superstar. Omega says if Uno is talking about who he thinks, then he thinks he doesn't have the guts, and doesn't think he has the guts to be the champ. Omega says goodbye catchphrase. So you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Doesn't matter. I'll go.
You go first. So yeah, give me a break.
So yeah, I thought Evil Uno did a really good job as the spokesperson for Dark Order. I like also that Omega is reintroducing the idea that Page himself doubts himself, right? Like that Page has some self-doubt, because I find that character really interesting and fresh in wrestling. It adds
a really interesting layer, right?
And it's not a common wrestling thing, and Page does a really good... It's
not even done well commonly either.
No, and Page is really believable in that role.
Right.
So I thought this was a nice way to tease the idea of that match, but I don't think we're going to get it anytime soon, right? It's just like reminding us that's on the back burner.
I think it'll be All Out, which is, I think, maybe their biggest pay-per-view. It's either that or Double or Nothing. Right, and that's usually like August.
Yeah,
late August or September. So they've got some time to build.
So I like that they're sort of reminding of that this is probably where we're going.
I think it's for sure All Out.
If I'm going to be critical, it's that I think Dark Order could have come out a little bit earlier, because Kenny was just kind of saying stuff at the beginning. But it was good, a good segment. And I mean, this Dark Order Page dynamic, I can't get enough of it. So I liked it.
I like this. As much as I wanted Hangman to come out, I think this is smarter.
Yep.
Making the fans wait longer for this confrontation will make it more hot and interesting, create a better build for the Neville match. Like, I think, as much as, like, I really wanted Hangman to come out, but, like, this is smarter.
The idea that Page himself might not think he's ready too, right, would stop him from coming out.
Right.
Where
that's also
Uno
good
has
too.
To be like, we see what this guy's really capable of.
We know he's ready,
himself.
whether he sees it or not. Right.
So Page at this point wouldn't come out and do this.
So I thought Omega did well. I thought Uno was pretty good too. I liked him, like you said, as like kind of the spokesperson for the Dark Order.
Yeah.
Good segment, and we wait again.
Yes, that's right.
The inevitable,
amazing match that will be coming.
Brian Pillman Jr. So Pillman talks about how he didn't have much family and good friends like Griff Garrison, who Miro attacked. Pillman says Miro isn't God's favorite champion, and he's just a Bulgarian B-Touch.
Yep.
Next we get that match for the TNT title, Brian Pillman Jr. versus God's favorite champion, Miro.
I like the promo by Pillman. Strong, straightforward, and I think he's got like a retro vibe to him for sure. He feels like he's like a 90s guy, but I thought Pillman. He did a good job, man.
He is a Pillman.
I don't necessarily want to like him because I really didn't when this started, but he's growing on me, I have to admit.
So Miro's got like a new theme, a little more befitting of his new Redeemer, I think it was called, and the God's favorite champion thing. Which I did make a note of as well. Pillman dodges the Machka kick and hits some punches before being taken to the corner. Samoan drop by Miro, chest kick and a suplex by Miro, a rope centered by Pillman post-commercial break. He's able to get a springboard dropkick and then a wrecking ball dropkick to the outside. Springboard clothesline for a 1 count by Pillman. A couple of super kicks by Pillman, but Miro catches the third and connects with a pretty nice roundhouse kick and follows with the Machka kick. He locks in game over, and that is in fact game over, and Miro retains.
I notice now when he brings him all the way back with the game over, it sort of transitions into a choke.
I still
prefer
like it though when remember it was basically his camel clutch, but I remember he used to really sit down on it, and he would just make that face.
I don't know if it's because you can't do that to everybody. They have to be somewhat flexible. I don't know. I thought this match was pretty good. It was a little slow to start. It kind of was bookended with Miro in control, right? And then Pillman got a run in the middle. It was just another
good enhancement match that just happens to have the title on the line.
Yeah, I think Miro looked mega strong at the end. Pillman got a bit of a showcase in the middle, so I thought this was fine and did what it was supposed to do.
So Pillman looked good in the offense he got, and Miro looked dominant enough. I thought this was a good enhancement match.
Yeah, everybody comes away looking good, right? So that's the plan.
Right, nothing much to say other than that, because there wasn't much to it.
No.
And I don't mind this as a concept for Miro. He's got he'll defend against lesser competition just to keep him looking good, and then at pay-per-views against Archer, he'll defend against better opponents, have a more traditional challenging match.
And whoever ends up beating him for that belt is going to immediately look good, right? Because Miro is making that belt seem pretty prestigious because he looks unbeatable. So whenever they finally decide to have someone take it from him, that belt now has some nice prestige to it.
So Hangman the Dark Order. Paige is mad at them for challenging the Kenny, and basically it's they're saying Paige is maybe afraid of failure, and they just kind of reassert him the Dark Order thing, and they were talking about how Paige was there for Uno after he lost to Miro. And like they kind of walk off after like kind of reassuring him. They have each other's backs, and then Reynolds says, "This is Hangman's time."
Yeah. I pretty much love this. This is like, I hate the term, but this is as close to a mark as I get, because this Dark Order Page stuff, I just freaking love it. So in normal wrestling, right, this now is becoming, this is the tension introduced between, because Paige is mad that they spoke up for him.
But it's they literally, they do the opposite.
Listen, man, remember all these times you supported us when we weren't sure we could do it, right? And now it's sort of our turn to return that favor and support you.
It is Hangman's time. Like,
and it's just such a fresh thing in major wrestling.
It's just such an oddity, right? Like, I just thought this was a great little segment. I love these so much. It adds more character development for Hangman. And the Dark Order is so great. It's like this family-like faction who support each other. Just like, because Hangman's always like we were saying, like when Uno came up short, he was there for him. Like, and they're kind of there for him now. It's just like, and it's really cool. And like Hangman's not even like really a member of the Dark Order, but like.
It's this idea, right?
So great.
It's this idea that Paige is better to other people than he is to himself.
Yeah.
And not only did Dark Order realize that, but they're there to remind him of that fact, right? And Paige plays this thoughtful, like self-doubting character just so beautifully, good. I think. So far,
they're so great.
I can't get enough of this storyline, and they have like what we're saying 2 months to tell this story until Paige and Omega headlines.
Yeah, they got a lot of time.
In my opinion, Paige is the one to take the title.
Paige is absolutely the one. I honestly can't see how it's anyone else. Like you said, he's playing this character amazingly, and I think that would be even more interesting when he's champion. Like he kind of doubts himself, maybe, and like. He's amazing in the ring. He's over with the fans.
Or that's the point where he realizes how great he is, and he just goes on a major run with the support of Dark Order.
Yeah, I would love him. Right.
And it's really hard to build good, believable baby faces. And
you've got one too, right? Like, he has the history with Omega. He has the talent. He has, like, the fans behind him. Like, I literally can't see how it's anybody but him.
I told you, I look smart. They're waiting on Paige until crowds are back because they know this is the baby face going forward.
Like Vince is afraid to make the mega stars because like they're gonna ditch him, like Cena and Batista and Rock, but like and then like AEW over here, like I think Hangman might be like maybe he'll define the because like you've had like what I would say maybe Bruno Sammartino, then like Hogan and Austin and like Cena. Like, maybe Hangman's that era-defining guy.
Main event babyfaces are really hard to make, and this guy is fantastic.
He's for sure main event babyface, and maybe he's that era-defining guy. Yep, like, Hangman is...
I think
he's going to be AEW's guy.
This company's got Paige, Jungle Boy, and a few MJF. Right. They have some youth that are like...
Yeah, Guevara eventually.
Yes, I agree. Yep.
But yeah, Hangman will, I think, be the guy for AEW.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see this unfold.
More specifically on the segment, I love this. It was great.
Yep.
Not talk about Hangman, but I mean, hey, he's awesome. Yes. So we get a quick bit for Team Taz. Taz basically acknowledges that Team Taz is incomplete at the moment.
For sure.
He says it's been tough on all of them, and they all agreed that it needs to be figured out. And Taz says Brian Cage will defend the FTW Championship, which is their fictional championship, against Ricky Starks at Fyter Fest. And I think that'll be a good match, so I'm fine with that.
I thought Taz's promo was solid. I don't love Starks coming back to, I guess, what they would consider a major match, if I'm being honest. He wasn't focused on before the injury. He doesn't feel like he's in the right spot for this. But then again, like you said, right, it's a made-up title. And
it's like they got the FTW title, and NXT brought back the $1 Million title. They both brought back old fictional championships.
And in theory, this is a lower card match, so I guess it's fine. I'm not really sure if you want to look at it carefully what Ricky Starks has done to earn a title shot.
Well, I guess they want to maybe, if Cage is separating from them, they maybe want to use Starks as a vehicle to like bring it back.
But what's the last thing Starks has done? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Got injured. He faced Hangman.
Right. So anyways, it's fine. I'm not super looking forward to it, but I'll always watch a Cage match. He can probably just destroy Starks
and
for a while.
Starks is good.
Yeah.
So we get Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero versus Britt Baker and Rebel. And
low point.
And Vicky looks ridiculous in her entrance.
Warning, low point of the show.
Yeah, I think I could have seen that coming from a mile away.
Vicky coming out wearing that mask and
Nyla.
trying to be serious after weeks of this excuse me over the top shtick is she's funny to me, and it's not supposed to be. She's like an old lady,
and she's not like a wrestler or anything. Like
no.
You compare her to Nyla Rose, who's standing right there next to her. Like,
and for me, she's largely a comedy manager, which is why I don't want her anywhere near Andrade. But anyways, this happened.
So Vicky trips, and Baker hits a cheap shot, and Nyla tags in. Baker runs and shoves Rebel to Nyla. Sleeper hold by Rebel, but Nyla gets it out. Baker does not want the tag, and Nyla hits a clothesline on Rebel. Body slam by Rose and a leg drop, and another body slam, and Vicky tags in. Baker gets a blind tag post-commercial break, so we don't even have to watch the Rebel-Vicky interaction.
I put that in my notes that it was a smart move. The entire Vicky-Rebel portion is during a commercial break. Smart.
Right. Sling blade to Rose by Baker. Baker escapes the Beast Bomb and hits a super kick. Choke slam by Rose. Top rope knee by Rose with Baker draped over the top rope. Looks pretty nice. Rebel breaks the pin, and this is where she gets injured, I heard.
Yes.
She does kind of land weird on her leg, I think it was, right? So, Vicky tags in. Baker shoves Vicky into Nyla, who is on the top rope, which knocks Nyla off. And Baker submits Vicky with the lockjaw for the win. Baker and Rebel win. Rose attacks with a post-match attack, hits a powerbomb in the ring, and then a powerbomb off of the apron.
It's a beast bomb, all right? Beast bomb.
No, she didn't sit out.
Signature.
She didn't sit out.
I guess.
So I thought this match had limited use of Vicky, which is smart. And it was kind of like the mixed tag match from NXT, where like this is just kind of vehicle to further Rose and Baker. Wasn't as bad as I expected, obviously because of the limited Rebel and Vicky, but I still didn't need this on Dynamite, and AEW's capable much better.
Yeah.
And like, just do something else to build for this, because I don't think like you should save Baker and Rose for like the title match.
I thought this was a bit of a mess. One part early on that really bugged me was Britt and Rebel took out Vicky, and then they have their backs turned for an extended period of time, kind of allowing Nyla to come attack them. And like, you spend so much time talking about how smart Britt Baker is, and then she makes like the dumbest rookie mistake of just turning your back on your monster opponent for an I didn't like that part.
Yeah.
The aftermath was better than the match. The power bomb through the table looked awesome. The Nyla knee drop always looks good with her opponent hanging over the rope. I think that's a great signature move for her to have. I'd like the story of Baker sort of not wanting... She sacrifices Rebel, right, to face Nyla when Nyla's fresh, and then only tags in when Nyla's been weakened.
Right,
so
classic
obviously,
heel maneuver.
And again, that's her being back to the smart person that she should be. The in-ring action, let's be honest, it wasn't great, and Rebel got hurt and sort of had to tell Nyla to not hurt her anymore. Like,
right, they're
she's
dragging her
gently
out.
guide me to the rope.
Dragging
sort of
her
thing.
out. Oh no, she's not. Well,
I don't.
Yeah.
To me, I think you're saying it too. This doesn't feel like a great use of time on an episode of Dynamite to me. But the aftermath was cool. The match itself, not so much.
Yep. So here's what we got for Road Rager next week. We got Bucks versus Penta and Kingston for the tag titles, which she said might be a street fight.
I believe so.
The Cody and QT strap match, which I'm not really looking forward to that. I think we all would know why. Next we got Matt Sydal versus Andrade El Idolo. That'll be pretty nice to see Andrade debut. I'm hoping like his ring gear, he keeps his ring gear, so I'm excited like his ring gear. And Andrade was already great in NXT, so we'll see if he's allowed to do more in AEW. We got the Inner Circle, which will be represented by Hager, Santana, and Ortiz, versus the Pinnacle, which will be represented by Wardlow and FTR, so kind of a six-man tag with the factions, powerhouses, and tag teams. Chris Jericho and MJF will have their face-to-face standoff, where MJF will reveal his stipulations for Jericho to have a match with him.
All right.
And then we'll have next week, Yippee, Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander versus the Blade and Bunny.
Oh boy.
That's... And so we're gonna get like a quick promo from the Inner Circle.
Right.
Hager says Wardlow almost has respect until the sneak attack after the MMA match. Santana says they'll have to get their hands dirty, and since Pinnacle will have their snake Tully, they'll have their dog Conan in their corner. Are they calling Conan their pet dog?
I don't know. They shouldn't do that.
No.
I thought Hager was okay, but he was sort of given the chore of recapping the actions of the Inner Circle. Like, they did this, and then you guys did this, which always gets a bit awkward, I think, unless you're really good, because you're just kind of giving summary, which is kind of boring.
I think Paige did a good job, remember? Like,
yeah,
he was recapping what he did to Darby.
Better, for sure, and that's the difference in their abilities, sort of. Santana, I think, is great. I'm going to fantasy book him for a minute. I think he needs a singles run. I would put...
Santana?
Yep. I would put Ortiz and Hager in a team if you want.
No, don't do that to Ortiz.
But let Santana get in the TNT title hunt.
Really?
I think he's.
I could see that actually, but I like Proud and Powerful as a team though.
His charisma and like his mic skills are a lot better than I thought they were. So I think there's
the issue with that though is I feel like it leaves Ortiz in the dust, and I think they're a good team.
But so far they're kind of doing nothing with them as a team, right? So I think Santana's better than that. I like Ortiz too, but I think Santana could get a singles run. That's just me. May never happen.
I think Kip Sabian could get a singles run.
That's just ridiculous. But
you're just ridiculous.
A singles run at the bottom of the card on Dark.
That's not nice.
Well, maybe not.
I'd
quite
rather
that
you throw
bad.
Santana there.
No, Santana's sweet.
Kip Sabian's
Santana
sweet.
hugged your brother. Did he hug you too? We have pictures of him hugging your brother. I don't remember. He's hugged us. Dang it. We gotta love him. Not me, but anyways.
Yes.
Main event time.
Front row at Impact. Yes, it is with MJF versus Sammy Guevara. Credit to TJR Wrestling for the help with the notes.
Yeah, because this was not one you. Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of note taking.
So yeah,
you got to get in the new technique. The notes are way less. Less.
Credit to him again.
Yep. Thanks, John.
Yes. I did kind of tweak him as always, but
yeah, of course.
Yeah. MJF bails to the floor for some taunting, and he kind of like after they did like the drop down leaf frog thing, he kind of did like the Ric Flair strut.
Yes.
And then Sammy kind of does it afterwards, mocking him.
Right.
Sammy goes for a dropkick. MJF holds on to the ropes, and they exchange moves, but not really connecting with any. MJF got a shot to the throat. Sammy bounced off the ropes with a jumping knee, and they did some more mat wrestling with some counters and like kind of some pin counters.
And right? MJF really showed off athleticism. He hasn't done that before, right? Like he's keeping up with Sammy kind of here, and I was pretty impressed. I hadn't seen that side of MJF before.
So MJF got a backslide pin. Sammy's able to get one as well, and then they kind of do like the small package back and forth thing. Sammy attacks against the turnbuckle. Referee tries to separate them, and MJF sneaks in an eye poke. Sammy sends MJF into the turnbuckle. Sammy goes up top, and MJF rolls out of the ring to get away. Sammy runs after MJF, but then back in the ring with Sammy hitting a double springboard cutter for a 2 count. MJF trips up Sammy by the legs, and they're on the floor with MJF hitting an arm drag that kind of sends him into the barricade.
So sorry, this part of the match I really liked because it shifted from like the holds and counters and all that to like now you've got Sammy trying to make things complicated and do high risk, high flying, and MJF just like tripping him and doing basic stuff, right, to keep it simple. And I really liked that contrast. It was cool.
And then we got picture-in-picture break. Match returns with MJF in control. He's got a chin lock on. Sammy fights back, and Sammy tosses MJF out of the ring. MJF pulls up the apron when Sammy tries to slide out of the ring, and Jericho said it was like Dave Finlay, but I think he meant Fit Finlay.
Yeah.
Who did that move a lot. Sammy gives MJF a back body drop on the floor. Back in the ring, Sammy goes for like a springboard move, but MJF counters amazingly with just a quick sit-out powerbomb.
Yeah, it looked really nice.
Flawless.
Yeah, I made a note of that too.
They battled by the turnbuckle, which did look kind of like you were saying, set up or like choreographed or whatever.
Oh yeah, there was a bit of cooperation going on at that point. Yeah.
Which leads to a Spanish fly off of the middle rope.
Oh yeah, you're right, because you could see like MJF's basically climbing to stand in position but I mean, I still love a Spanish fly.
Sammy then hits 2 clotheslines, a shoulder to the ribs, and a jumping kick to the head. Sammy hits a kick to the face, followed by a clothesline to the floor. Sammy gets like some twisting dive over the top on MJF.
Yeah, Tornillo, I think Excalibur tells us.
Right, yes, that's what it was. Sammy hits a springboard destroyer back in the ring for a 2 count.
Now, I don't want to sound like an old man, and I still do love this match, but a springboard destroyer should probably finish things. I don't mean to sound like Jim Cornette or something. I'm going to forgive it because I don't really care. I just want a fun match, but that's going to be a criticism from people for sure. Followed up another move a bit later that should be a finish or two probably, but go ahead.
MJF hits a double foot stomp onto Sammy's left arm, and Sammy gets a roll for 2. MJF grabs a chair, but Sammy comes in with a wrecking ball drop kick, which kind of kicks the chair on MJF.
Right. Knocks
him over the barricade. Sammy goes up top, kind of pulls a ricochet-like thing where he does like a somersault off of the top turnbuckle over the barricade on MJF, because on Raw, Ricochet did.
I haven't seen the spot yet. I heard it was amazing.
He did like a springboard crossbody flying onto John Morrison, who's behind the barricade. It looked like really smooth. This one was pretty nice too.
Yep.
The referee counted pretty slow, so the wrestlers were able to get back in the ring without too much worry. Sammy goes up top. MJF hits the top rope to crotch him. and MJF hits a tombstone piledriver from the middle rope just for 2.
Just for 2.
Which I think MJF sold pretty nice. Like, what he kind of did come down on his knees pretty hard.
Yeah.
And he sold his left knee pretty well, so I thought that was pretty nice.
Yep.
Sammy gets a small package after MJF collapses, selling the injury. MJF went for a heat seeker, like that pendulum pile driver, which is a good way to describe it.
Yep.
From Excalibur. Sammy countered, and they each battled over a 2 count. Sammy got a couple super kicks and a GTH with the knee to the head for 2. But MJF's foot was on the ropes as Sammy kind of leaned into that pin a little too much.
Yeah, it wasn't even that MJF had the energy to reach for the ropes. It's just the pinfall.
It was done pretty well,
Sammy folded him over so far trying to get
his foot was on the
his
middle
foot was
rope.
in the rope.
I think that was pretty smart. A unique way to do that.
I thought that was really well done.
Yeah. Sammy went up top. MJF was begging Sammy not to do the 630. But Sammy hit it, and MJF actually kicked out at the last moment, which I was surprised because that feels like your textbook, and he's like, no, don't do it, I'm sorry. Yeah. And then he hits anyways and wins. But so I was surprised that didn't get it. Shawn Spears shows up at ringside.
Here we go.
And so Chris Jericho tries to go to stop it, and Wardlow kind of attacks him and throws him off like that ledge. That's from
the really narrow ledge right in front of the crowd.
Not really much impact.
Not a great bump, no.
The referee's looking at that, so Spears was able to nail Sammy with a chair to the head, which Sammy did get his hands up, which we were saying because they weren't supposed to do that in the Attitude Era, but how does that not make sense?
Put your hands up.
In real life, I'm just gonna you're hitting this
lean into it. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
No, you put your hands up like a real person would.
And MJF is able to crawl over for the pin and get the win, so he wins via shenanigans.
Excellent match. The finish is kind of lame and annoying.
If
I'm Sammy, I'm saying, where are the rest of the inner circle? They didn't expect.
Obviously, they took out Jericho, but
they didn't expect this to happen, right? If I'm Sammy, I'm mad at my group for not anticipating this because this is all that's been happening for months. It feels like so nobody's there to help them. But I overall I liked it. I don't want to dwell too much on the ending. MJF worked sort of a different style tonight to start out the match.
MJF did really good.
He started wrestling like the talented, honorable grappler at first, right? And then it shifts to Sammy making things complicated, MJF keeping it simple, which I thought was really cool. These guys worked really hard, looked good together. And again, some people are going to call this a spot fest because those, especially the Springboard Destroyer and Avalanche Tombstone, should probably finish matches, and I agree a little bit. But all in all, if it makes the match fun and I get more into it, I really don't care. It's wrestling. I know it's fake. Let's just let them do a bunch of crazy stuff for my amusement. I'm fine with that. I think this was a fun match, and I liked it. A really good main event, but a predictable kind of, in my opinion, a little bit of a lazy finish, I guess, but still a good main event. What did you think?
I thought this was a great match. Makes it 2 weeks in a row for AEW with some great main events. Start of the match was great in showing how even these guys are, and a little different for MJF with the technical wrestling and a bit of athleticism.
Yeah.
The match had a nice style contrast, like you mentioned, with the flashing, high-flying Guevara constantly being grounded by the simpler and crafty MJF.
Right.
There were some great moves, and MJF did a great job of selling that knee injury, which kind of makes sense because you would come down pretty hard on your knees, just literally jumping knees first, basically.
Oh, what did I watch last night? I watched a couple things. One was NWA Power, and the one woman Genocide, her finishing move was a tombstone, and it's like the girl's head's not even close to the
I remember Undertaker, it was like the thing where he tombstones Hogan on a chair that Flair puts there, but not at all.
It was Lady Frost that took it, and it was not close, but anyways.
Overall, great main event to cap off the show. And then we actually get a highlight reel for AEW in Daly's Place.
Caught me by complete surprise, and I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was just it just showcased the best of just all the stuff they'd done,
in Daly's
Brody
Place.
Lee, just because they've been in Daly's Place basically for the better part.
This is the last one before they go on the road, so it was a tribute to Daly's Place, which was
so it was really a cool package to recap a truly unique era, and they still had a little chunk to specifically highlight Brody Lee.
Yes,
and he was featured decent amount, which just what a company AEW
and if
is.
You tell me
this is just so it was so cool, just it was literally just them showing basically everything they've done for the past year or so, but they're tributing a venue, how
that's what I was gonna say. If you tell me out of context they're gonna do a highlight video, a tribute to the to the venue, I'd be like, what? But it was awesome. I thought the music was
like
great.
The music, yeah.
The highlights were great. The production value was huge.
And I like that they're not trying to like kind of bury Brody Lee under, like they're keeping
it's not
right?
just they're gonna keep talking about this guy and referring to him. It's not just they're gonna do stuff in the moment it happened. They're still talking about it. I don't know whose idea it was to do this package,
but I think it's really smart. Cause it's like I think it's something you should look back on, right?
And then the sign off. What happens? The very final thing we hear? What does JR say?
Oh yeah, he calls it WWE Dynamite.
WWE Dynamite. He calls it. What a goof. But anyways, I
I thought that was just like a really cool thing. Like that's not something they would have to do, but like I think it was really cool.
The package was awesome. It's just too bad JR's final words were a WWE Dynamite as they went off the air, basically.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not a huge deal to me. It's kind of funny. I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
It's just the man can't help it. He's old, and he's been trained to say that 1,000 times, or more. So it came out.
Yeah, so thoughts on the show?
I thought this was a really strong episode of Dynamite. The opener and the main event, I thought, were both excellent. Slight deduction for the finish of the main event. Jungle Boy Jack Evans was quick and entertaining for what it was. The Ethan Page, I have to specify my pages, which is a bit annoying.
I just call him Hangman most of the time.
So Ethan Page cut a really good promo. So did MJF, despite my sort of fatigue with that storyline. I liked the time Andrade got without Vicky. Omega Dark Order interaction was good. I love the follow-up between Hangman Page and the Dark Order. Miro Pillman sort of over-delivered a little bit for me. And again, whoever beats Miro down the road is going to be huge. The only miss on this show, I thought, was anything involving Vicky. The match wasn't good. The aftermath was a bit better, but it was still easily the worst thing on what I really enjoyed this episode. I'm been hemming and hawing between a B+ and an A-. I'm going to go with A- because just sort of sometimes our recap pushes me one way or the other, right? It's so I really like this show, and I'm going to give it an A- this week. Nice that it's back on Wednesdays too.
Yes.
Bonus mark for that.
Opener was superb. I thought it was really great. And we're getting a rematch next week, and if you're to be believed, or your sources, the street fight, I think that's even better.
I'll look it up.
Ethan Page's segment was cool. He's a great promo, and I like that. I always like his promos. Jungle Boy Jack Evans was fine, but basically an enhancement match, but good for what it was. MJF's promo was good, and I like the Omega Dark Order segment. It was a great way to further build the Hangman Omega feud. Pillman versus Miro was good, but was once again basically an enhancement match that happened to have the title on the line. But Pillman got some good offense in. I love the Hangman Dark Order segment again, where Hangman was kind of mad, which changed to kind of insecure, and the Dark Order is just wholesome and supportive vibes, support him. I just think they're like a really cool thing to have around in AEW, just a rarity in pro wrestling these days.
Yep.
And I really hope someday Dark Order bring in more gold, because I think they've got some really good talent in that faction. The women's tag match was probably the low light, and the aftermath was not great. The main event was a great match, though, with a cool style contrast. And a somewhat surprising result for me. Not the best finish, but not complaining too much.
Right.
Daly's Place farewell package was cool.
Awesome.
Odd that they're paying homage to a venue, but it's been a unique era. And like Daly's Place has housed AEW for the majority of it.
Yep.
It's just a cool thing to do, which seems to be a trend for AEW. Like they just seem to be that kind of company.
Yep.
I think I would agree with you. Like just kind of looking back, it was better. I was gonna give it a B+, but I'll go with A-
That's
as
what
well.
I did too. Yes, AEW GM has declared that the World Tag Team title match at Road Rager this Wednesday in Miami will be a street fight. Confirm.
Yes. All right. Score.
All right, so let's transition into our next...
that'll be main event.
Next segment, which will be us talking about some other wrestling stuff in something we cleverly call Any Other Wrestling Business.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want me to start with Impact Wrestling this week?
Sure.
I also watched, what is it, New Japan... Strong, which is actually getting better. So, the main event, I didn't finish it yet, but it was Lawler versus Carl Fredericks, who I've seen a bunch. Lawler,
when you say Lawler, that's not who I think of.
Filthy Tom Lawler?
Yeah.
He's got an interesting gimmick, because he comes out in... like cut-off jean shorts, which are already pretty short, and then that's his entrance gear. He takes off the cut-off jean shorts, and he's wearing like skin-tight, like boxer brief trunks that are also look like jean shorts, but even smaller underneath the jean shorts. I don't know. He's kind of interesting to me.
He's the champ, right?
Yeah, but the show seemed a little bit better than the last time I watched it, so I may check it out. It also had Rocky Romero and Connors. I can't remember his first name.
Clark Connors?
Yeah, he looks pretty good as well. But anyways, and a tag match that was really good with a couple of young boys that looked like a pretty good team.
Nice.
Anyways, we're going to talk about some Impact Wrestling because I watched that as well in a little more detail for you. So the show begins this week with a recap of the Don Callis, Tommy Dreamer situation with Callahan, Moose, and Sabin are going to be forming an unlikely team in the main event tonight to go against Omega and the Good Brothers. So this is followed by some highlights of the very good main event from last week where Violent by Design retained their tag titles against Eddie Edwards and Kojima. Then there's some new footage, I'm pretty sure, from after the match because I don't remember seeing it last week, where Eddie is sort of respectfully asking Kojima for a singles match before Kojima returns to Japan. Kojima agrees. Morrissey interrupts and mocks them for acting like they're friends. Morrissey calls them a bunch of frauds and leaves as the Impact theme and sort of introduction now start to play. And I think this use of Morrissey continues to be really good. He's now like the angry giant with no friends, and he doesn't believe that anyone can be friends within wrestling. So I don't know if this is going to set up a Morrissey-Edwards feud. Hopefully Eddie can just put over Morrissey and make him look good because it looks like they have big plans for Morrissey. And
Cass is awesome.
I do kind of like the way they've booked him so far. So the show starts out with that match, which is Kojima versus Eddie Edwards. And right away, I assume that Morrissey's going to get involved in this and blow it up. That was my note before it even started. And guess what? And here he is. So he takes Edwards out, asks who has Eddie's back when he jumped him in the parking lot. Now Kojima is in the ring all alone, just like everyone else in the world. So this moved really quickly, and we don't even get any of the Edwards-Kojima match before Morrissey gets involved, but that's okay. I kind of liked it. Morrissey looks like a monster, and he sort of proved his point, right? That someone having your back in the world of wrestling is basically pointless because Kojima has Edwards back, and he just took him out in the parking lot, and where was Kojima? And now Kojima's all alone with nobody there too. But then Brian Myers' music plays. He comes out with his protege Sam Beale. Myers tells Kojima to leave now that he has no match, and normally he would use this as an opportunity for Beale, but he sees that there's nothing that Beale could learn from Kojima, so he tells Kojima to leave, and he starts to call out Jake something instead. Kojima attacks Myers, but the numbers get him because Beale is there, but Jake something comes out to clear the ring and make the save for Kojima, and as the heels are leaving, a ref catches them, tells them it's a match now. Myers and Beale are still trying to get out of there to avoid the match, but Kojima and Jake grab them, sort of drag them up the ramp and put them in the ring, so we're going to get an impromptu match to start. And I thought this segment was fine. It was a clever way to advance this gimmick and story to sort of set up an impromptu match that is somewhat interesting to me. So we'll see how it goes. It is Kojima and Jake something versus Brian Myers and Sam Beale. So this was a really old school tag team match, largely dominated by the heels. Kojima dominates Beale to start, but then Jake gets a little bit of time in control as well. Then the heels kind of take over. Myers runs Jake into Beale, sacrifices Beale to gain an advantage over Jake, right? So this mentor does not care much about his protege at this point. He's sort of using him to benefit himself, which makes sense. The heels then cut off the ring for quite a while to isolate Jake. Myers uses cheap tactics to stay in control whenever he can. There's an eventual hot tag to Kojima, machine gun chops to Beale, and an elbow drop for 2. We get a DDT by Kojima. Myers interrupts the Koji cutter and hits Kojima with a flatliner. Myers sets up to spear Kojima, but he gets caught by a Jake something black hole slam. So then Beale is left alone with Kojima. Kojima obviously hits the Koji cutter and his running elbow for the win. I actually quite enjoyed this match, and I wasn't sure I was going to. It was really slow in the middle as the heels were sort of methodical and cutting the ring in half, controlling Jake with frequent tags and basic offense, but this worked. It set up a nice hot tag for Kojima, a really fun finishing sequence. This match got a lot of time, especially by Impact standards, and I'm betting not everyone enjoyed this match. I thought it was quite good, and maybe Beale and Myers could be a promising tag team, honestly, to freshen up that division a little bit. So it was kind of an old school match, but I liked it. Gia walks up to Scott D'Amore, asks for his thoughts on Dreamer being another authority figure on the show. D'Amore says he's getting a phone call, but instead of pulling out his phone, are you ready for this? He pulls out a tarot card, and guess what? That makes Rosemary and Havoc magically appear, which we all know is my favorite thing. I love magic.
And you love the interruptions.
I do love it. Rosemary wants a tag team title shot at Fire and Flava. D'Amore is clearly a little bit nervous. He says he'll take it under advisement, but asks that next time they just schedule a conversation. My notes are no. Please no magic and teleportation. I don't like it in general, and I have even less confidence in Impact doing it well. The thing is, if you have the power to magically appear and disappear, how do you ever lose a match, right? Like, that's the problem for me. If I can just disappear, why wouldn't I do that in the middle of taking a pinfall?
Or, like, use your powers to
win stuff sometimes.
Right.
So it drives me crazy. Having magic powers and still losing even occasionally, I'm disconnected from it. I fear where this is going a little bit. Commentary, talk about tonight's show and Slammiversary in 2 weeks. Then we get Tenille Dashwood with Caleb, obviously, versus Rachel Ellering, who's accompanied by Jazz this time.
Jazz.
So this was a competitive match with a really clear heel and babyface dynamic. Tenille attacks as Rachel tries to take her t-shirt off to start. We get a running senton by Ellering for a near fall at one point. Tenille moves Ellering and boots Caleb off the apron by accident, and then uses that distraction as Ellering sort of distracted for a second too to take control of Ellering. Suplex and a float over by Tenille for 2. Double underhook suplex mostly. It was kind of sloppy, and D'Lo literally just starts laughing out loud on commentary. Diving low crossbody by Tenille, one of her signatures that I think always looks good. She also hits a neckbreaker in the ropes to Ellering. We get an STO by Ellering, and she chases off Caleb. Sunset flip attempt by Tenille, but Ellering counters by sitting down on her and picking up the pinfall win here, and not the pinball, as my notes say. She picks up the pinball. Where'd that come from? Tenille attacks after the match, as heels do. Jazz fights them off.
As heels do.
Long enough for Jordan Grace to run down and take out all of the heels. So Ellering and Jordan, they've been having this little dynamic. Are they okay? Are they fighting sort of thing? They're kind of looking at each other across the ring. They slowly approach each other. Ellering extends her hand. Jordan Grace slaps it away, but she pulls her in for a hug instead.
Aww.
Reunited, at least for now. I actually thought this was a solid match too. Got a good amount of time as well. Tenille is so cowardly until she's in control, right? And then she exudes confidence, and I think that's nice character work. She is the chicken heel until she's in control, and then she's totally confident, right? Ellering, especially after her recent mega babyface promos, is really believable in this role, and she had some pretty nice looking offense too. I thought this was a very solid Knockouts TV match, and I still feel like there's a small chance that Jordan Grace may turn after all of this.
She could be running the long con.
But not for now, I guess, right? And I'm okay with that. I like subtle stuff, so that's okay. We then get a recap of Chris Bay not getting involved with the X Division Melee while filming it instead last week. So the basic idea, there's a group of heels in the X Division, there's a group of faces. We're about to have a big multi-person match, right? And Chris Bay is sort of refusing to choose a side at this point. So we're now in the back, and Chris Bay is being interviewed by Gia about not choosing a side. So he starts to answer, but then he's interrupted, surprise, surprise, by Ace Austin, Fulton, Rohit, and Shera, who are sort of a little bit of a heel faction right now.
An alliance.
Bay won't join their side, but Ace says they've got enough muscle, they don't need Bay, and they thank him for just sort of staying out of it. They appreciate him staying in his lane, and since Bay wasn't going to win the Ultimate X match anyways, if he stays out of their way, he won't get ripped in half. Bay is annoyed, but leaves, so I like this. Both sides make sense, right? Bay is trying to stay neutral, and the heels don't really care as long as he doesn't help the baby faces, right? If you want to stay on your own and get killed, that's fine. An isolated Bay should be easier to beat for them. I have a feeling he might not be, but I did like this segment. We'll see where it goes. There are more developments in this coming up later. So we get TJP and Fallah Bahh versus Willie Mack and Rich Swann. Josh Matthews reminds us that this match was set up in a Swingers Palace segment last week. Thanks, Josh. And it is still Josh Matthews. No word of Stryker, where he is, when he's coming back. But Josh hasn't annoyed me. I think I haven't complained about him, right? The whole time he's been back. Other than saying he's still there, I haven't complained.
He's still there.
So that's good.
Hey, Josh, you're still there.
So this match barely gets underway before Violent by Design come out to end it with an attack. Swann kind of hit a Phoenix Splash to a group of people on the outside, and then Violent by Design come out and sort of wreck everybody. There was some fun action to begin before Violent by Design kind of crashed the party. We get a gore to Willie Mack in the ring by Rhino, a DDT by Diener to TJP, Death Valley Driver into the short arm clothesline by Doring to Rich Swann, and Violent by Design stand tall kind of over the wreckage to end this segment. And I have to admit, Violent by Design do look somewhat menacing now that they actually win and have championships to protect. I think they're a really solid heel faction for Impact at the moment, and this is the best form they've been in, I think, so far. Backstage, Fire and Flava wonder how Rosemary and Havoc can just jump to the front of the line. I would ask what line that is and who's in it, because I don't know of any actual Knockouts tag teams that exist right now. But anyways, this line has been jumped because they're not even a real team. Fire and Flava say they're sick and tired of being mistreated and will talk to Scott D'Amore about it. They find him right away, conveniently. Hogan wants to know how people can just demand matches like this. D'Amore calls them the very best, and he doesn't want them to feel they're not heard. He agrees that Rosemary and Havoc should have a match to prove that they are worthy of a title match, and next week they'll get a shot at earning it. He makes reference to Rosemary's supernatural abilities, and that shouldn't even be a problem for Fire and Flava if they're so good. Hogan wants to know how he always talks around them like this. So sort of he leaves, and she's like, how does he always kind of out-talk us? I thought this was a bit strange because Fire and Flava almost sounded like baby faces to start, complaining sort of legitimate complaints about people just throwing together a tag team and getting shots at their championship, right? But then they turned up their attitude when dealing with D'Amore and were kind of back to normal. I don't really want Fire and Flava tangled up in a supernatural story because I really like them, but it looks like that's what I'm going to get. So I thought a solid promo as usual, and I guess it looks like Rosemary and Havoc will get a match before they get a shot, but they didn't really clarify against who or when, so I guess we'll see. I would assume next week. Gia is then talking with Tommy Dreamer about his team and their sort of cohesion or lack thereof. Dreamer says that together, the team will stand, even if they don't like or trust each other. Apart from Sabin and Dreamer, they're fine with each other, but Dreamer's not even participating in this match, so I don't know if he needed to mention that. Sabin says that he can get along with Sammy, but he hates Moose, but will still put the team first, even with Moose on the team. Moose says they should know he doesn't care who likes who. All he cares about is winning. And Sammy saw what happened in Jacksonville, and no one has a bigger issue with Kenny Omega than Moose does. Sammy says he's got issues with everybody, but this is bigger than all of them, and it's about Impact putting their foot down and beating Team Callis. Good work from all the guys here. Nice. But this is a weird thing because this is a group mostly made of heels, right? And now they're being given the responsibility for taking out an even bigger heel faction. It just feels kind of weird because Sabin's the only babyface involved here, but like they have to take out this other heel faction. So strange bit of booking, I thought. But I'm kind of old school that way, I guess. We then get an X Division match with Chris Bay, the neutral guy, versus Petey Williams, who's like, to this point, I think part of the babyface part, but anyways, I'll get to it. So this was a fast-paced X Division action, two talented performers with Bay sort of positioned between the two separate sides of the X Division. Petey controls the action early, does his groin stand national anthem spot in the Tree of Woe to Bay. Bay then gets a series of kicks and an elbow drop onto Petey hanging from the ropes. We get a German suplex running knee by Petey as he calls for the Destroyer, but Bay counters it with a discus forearm and a torture rack into a neck breaker for two that looks cool. The Art of Finesse is attempted but countered into a side Russian leg sweep by Petey for two. We get a power bomb by Petey Williams, but Bay again counters the Destroyer, this time by tripping Petey. Bay shoves off the Destroyer, hits a cutter, and then the Art of Finesse right after that for the victory. Austin, Fulton, Rohit, and Shera make their way to the ring as Bay is sort of watching again, non-committal at this point. Fulton and Shera attack Petey Williams. Austin and Rohit try to recruit Bay to their side. Bay just leaves, and Trey, Miguel, and Josh Alexander run by Chris Bay to make the save of Petey Williams, and Bay is still watching from the ramp. He eventually does run to the ring, and we get the big reveal here. Do you think he's taken out the heels or the babyfaces?
Babyfaces.
He takes out all of the heels by himself, except for Ace Austin, who gets thrown onto the other heels by Alexander and Chris Bay working together. So we get that reveal.
That's dumb.
I liked the match. I think it was my favorite match on the show this week. It built really nicely as it went. Each man got to exhibit cool offense and clever counters to opponents' signatures. the right man clearly won here, as Bay is involved with a very specific storyline here. PD seemed to be working slightly heel here, which, and again, I made these notes before Bay ran in and did make his intentions clear, so this was funny. I put, PD seems to be working slightly heel here, which makes me wonder if they are setting Bay up for a face turn or PD for a heel turn or neither. And then immediately after that, we did get the baby face. It looks like turn for Bay. The aftermath was good, established Bay as a baby face, at least for now. I think because his gimmick, right, is he's the ultimate finesser, and he's always trying to finesse and manipulate people. So I would be happy if he has a plan in place and he is still a heel. That's what I'm kind of hoping for, so let's see if he does, because I think that would be cool. In the back, Susan and Kimberly, yay, try to figure out what they will do now that Deonna Purrazzo has left them on their own. Lee says that they could always go to their backup plan of Su Yung, and Susan does not know who that is. I will care about these two somewhat if Su Yung returns, because Susan and Kimberly... I remember when
Su Yung was cool.
She is cool. Susan and Kimberly on their own is not an act that holds much interest, so they have to do something else, and I really hope it is Su Yung coming back.
I remember when she had like the Undead Bridesmaids, and she was like...
She's cool. Because this Susan gimmick is not good, and it's been going on for far too long. It's just... I think they had an idea where she's basically like a Karen sort of character, but they haven't really done much with it. I need it to go away, because this whole like, I don't really know how to wrestle, but I'm in a match all the time is not cool. Jake something says Myers made fun of his name. It won't be the last time, because he deliberately put a target on his back. He said he used to need a family name like a crutch, but not anymore. Now you can question his name, but do not question him as a man or if he's a professional. He challenges Myers to a match, and if Myers wins, Jake will say his catchphrase. But when Jake wins, then Myers will acknowledge Jake as a professional. Remember I told you there was some lame stipulations?
So if Jake loses, he'll say Myers is professional?
Yes, he'll say that Myers is the most professional.
So it's
a catchphrase match. I guess, I don't know.
It's a you are professional match instead of an I quit match.
Who's the professional match?
Instead of an I quit match, it's a you are professional match, or whatever.
The stakes are stupid, I think, but Jake actually sounded pretty good here. And I think this feud with Myers is hopefully being used to get Jake over so he can move up the card somewhat. Because I think he's a talent, like a young talent that isn't been established anywhere else really, that they could focus on him a bit more than they do. He could be like an impact guy kind of for them, I think. So I'm hoping that's where it goes. We then get Macklin making his second appearance in ring, I think, versus Manny Smith. Don't know who he is.
Jobber named Generator.
Correct. Another short showcase for Macklin against an unknown here. There's a really lengthy headlock to start, which I thought was a strange choice. I think the point was that Macklin is so good and aggressive that he doesn't have to release it and that this guy can't get out of it, but it's pretty boring to watch, to be honest. We get a high knee, and then what I think was kind of a Saito suplex by Macklin. Aggressive basic offense by Macklin, like clotheslines, stomps in the Tree of Woe, etc. Macklin then threatens the ref. The ref just kind of touches him because Smith is in the corner touching the rope, so it is sort of the 5 count. So he puts his hands on Macklin, and Macklin sort of freaks out, and commentary make a big deal out of it. We get a diving spear by Macklin as Smith is still in the Tree of Woe that actually looked pretty cool. Flurry of punches, German suplex, repeated elbows, and his sit-out reverse DDT finisher for the win for Macklin. Basically just another squash that looked pretty similar to the last one. He does look really aggressive. He does have a couple cool-looking moves. But I need to see him against someone who has a chance and can actually get some offense in and work with him. But I'm fine with what they're doing for him so far. He's being booked to look really strong and aggressive in the brief matches he's had so far. Beal then gets to speak for a moment before Myers addresses Jake Something's challenge as Beal is taking notes in the background. Myers says he doesn't need to hear Jake call him a professional, since everybody in the industry always knows that Myers is. But he does want Sam Beal, his protege, to hear that coming from Jake to prove that all of his lessons are paying off. So he kind of accepts the match, which the stakes were weird. His acceptance of it is kind of weird. I do like Myers in this role. I'm not sure if the logic tracks here. Like, I don't need to hear you say it, but I'd like my protege to hear you say it. That's why he accepts the match, I guess.
I don't care about it, but I think it might be good for this guy to hear it.
Right. Kind of weak, but I guess it's fine. Commentary then remind us that next week Kimberly and Susan will meet Havoc and Rosemary, so that's the match leading into the title shot, I guess. And we'll get the contract signing between Kenny Omega and Sami Callihan for the Slammiversary match. Right into the main event now, which is the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega versus this sort of made-up team of Rich Swann, Chris Sabin, and Moose. So that's the story of a cohesive team of friends facing a quickly put-together team that doesn't really get along, I guess, basically. Callis comes out wearing one of Omega's belts and personally does Omega's over-the-top introduction.
They're all wearing Omega's belts.
Moose and Sabin get in each other's face as Sabin tries to make a tag after the opening sequence. That really is the focus of this match, is sort of building the tension between Moose and Sabin, it felt like. Sammy dominates Gallows at one point. Omega and Anderson then escape to the ramp. Moose keeps his eyes on Sabin while battling Anderson. It's like he's very aware of Sabin and does not want to take his eyes off him. Dreamer gets involved between Moose and Sabin as they keep kind of having issues together, and that little distraction allows the Good Brothers and Omega to get the upper hand for the first time in this match. They then isolate and dominate Sabin for quite a while, they including hitting their triple splash to him. Sabin tries to make the hot tag to Moose, but Moose avoids it so that Sabin can take some more punishment, which I thought made sense from Moose's point of view. Hot tag to Sammy. Eventually, he dominates Anderson with a low blow, until a low blow by Anderson to sort of stop the momentum. Sabin hits a tornado DDT while kicking the other two, which looks cool. Blind tag by Moose. He pulls Omega out of the cradle shock and Sabin shoves him before leaving the ring. Moose roughly tags Sabin, throws him into the ring before starting to walk away. Callis then pushes Dreamer into Moose as Moose had just turned his back. So Moose thinks that Dreamer basically attacked him, so he takes out Dreamer with the clothesline. Sabin dives onto Moose on the ramp before heading back into the ring. Snapdragon by Omega, Magic Killer by the Good Brothers, and they pick up the win. So the basic idea is the dynamic between Moose and Sabin cost them the match. You got Callis getting involved, so now Moose is thinking that Dreamer's attacking him. All the melee outside the ring basically cost the win for Chris Sabin and his team. I thought this was only a decent main event. There was so much time with Sabin being dominated by basic offense, and this was a tactic we already saw earlier in a tag match with Myers and Beal, and I thought it was fine there, but bringing it back again in the main event was a bit of a mistake for me. All the craziness at the end, I guess the match did help build between Sabin and Moose, which felt like kind of the goal of this match, and it did help for me with that. Sammy wasn't really involved much at all, and neither was Omega. It was definitely sort of a vehicle to develop a Sabin-Moose feud, and I don't think that's the best choice for your main event on a show, but it did help get my interest a bit up for that match, so I guess somewhat successful, but match-wise, not an amazing main event. Overall, a pretty good episode of Impact. In ring, I liked the opening tag with Kojima, Edwards, Myers, and Beal. The Tennille Ellering match and the Bay Williams match were good. Macklin match was simple but effective squash. Max and Swan versus Ba and TJP didn't really happen, was just to further an angle with Morrissey. And the main event was just okay, was more dedicated to story than the match as well, I thought. Segment-wise, Morrissey promo at the start was good. Fire and Flavor were solid. Everything else was fine, even though I don't really care about Kimberly and Susan. I thought this was just a solid B-level show. It wasn't painful to watch in any way, but also there's nothing I would really go send anyone to watch. Maybe the Morrissey segment and maybe the Bay Petey match if you really pushed me to recommend something from this, but nothing that I'm like, you gotta go see this even if you don't watch Impact. Solid show, not spectacular. It gets a nice B from me.
Nice.
Yeah. So what do we need? We need to do your rewind
and then
match.
I got some
other stuff.
Main roster tidbits, I think it was.
Sure.
Yeah.
So whatever order you want, buddy. It's all you.
So we got Pro Wrestling Rewind. I think it's number 19. I just kind of remember.
I don't know. I don't keep track.
No, I know. I pick Usos versus New Day from Hell in a Cell.
So this is interesting for me because I know we really like this match. So sometimes it's nice to go back and be like, does this hold up? Like, because we really enjoyed this match. So do you have a bit of the history? Because I didn't do it this time, but I know off the top of your head. You can.
So I know they faced off. They had like a match at Money in the Bank. I remember the Usos kind of took a count-out loss on purpose. They had a match at Battleground. I think that's when, like, remember they had the Elites of the New Day with the U.S. attire?
Right.
I think that's where they wore that.
And this is like...
And I think, the New Day won the title. So the Usos won the title. I think New Day won at Battleground, I think. And then I know the Usos won it on the SummerSlam pre-show.
Right.
And the New Day won it back in a Sin City street fight on SmackDown.
Right.
And I think it was Vegas. And then they're the champs heading in.
So this is a really lengthy
feud battle.
Featuring a really over babyface team, and the Usos at, for me, the peak of their heel powers, right? Like, this is shortly after we were like, man, these guys are awesome heels. And at that point, I would never have believed that they could be, but they were so super lengthy feud and really good character work by both teams sort of added to the build up to this match. So I just wanted to get that in there because watching it sort of out of context, right? You might not remember all that stuff, or at least I don't. So that's what was going on leading up to this.
So this is a pretty wild match. So I just went with notables and like the best stuff in the match in order. So the New Day kind of like they all go to grab weapons, and so
right
the
away.
New Day, Big E's got a chain, so Woods has it around his fist, and so they do like a wheelbarrow, and so they hit an assisted chain fist drop.
Yep.
Dive to the outside by Jimmy over the top. Kind of goes into the cell. A spear. Big E does his like running apron spear into the cell wall, which is pretty. Yeah,
one of the Usos moves and he dives into the cage. Yeah. Looked great.
Woods breaks 2 trombones on Jey Uso.
Yep.
He just beats him with trombones.
Oh, so Big E misses the dive once and then hits it.
I think he hits it here.
And it looked awesome both times.
I think he hit it later.
The miss and the hit looked good, sorry.
I think he missed it later.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. New Day also put a cowbell and a gong to use.
Yeah, but the cowbell doesn't even ring. If you're going to hit people with the bell, it has to make the dinging sound. Because it should have the clanger in it. You got to hit him in the head with it.
Yeah. Big E takes some super kicks, and he takes them like a champ. He just like...
He sells great.
He's on jelly legs, as they say. Like,
he looked great.
Yeah, he looks awesome. And then he gets absolutely beat on with kendo sticks. Running hip attack in the corner of the cell by Jey with Jimmy holding Woods in position.
Looked great.
A Uranagi backstabber off of the apron by the New Day. Jimmy kind of like runs at Big E, and he gets him in the Uranagi, and then Woods slides in on the floor with the Uranagi.
Beautifully timed, right?
I mean.
So he just sort of slides in at the last second, and the Uranagi's right onto his knees. Right. It looked really cool.
The New Day used kendo sticks to create a kendo cage to trap Jey in the corner.
Clever.
Which was just that's one of my when I think of the match, that's one of the main things that just instantly comes to mind.
Yep.
Suicide Doomsday device by the Usos that sends him into the cell.
Crazy.
And they even make the point that Big E kind of goes into one of the support beams.
Right.
Not even like the chain link.
It looked good, man.
Consecutive Uso splashes by the Usos for a near fall. Woods gets handcuffed and he's hung around the post and just gets beat on with kendo sticks while he's hanging there.
And even that spot made sense, right? Like, it looked good. Like, he looks like he's pretty much stuck there. There's not much he can do. And he's wide open, and Kofi has to watch him get beaten on with kendo sticks.
Big E drives Jimmy in the cell wall and then does again while smushing Jey.
Mm-hmm.
Big E catches a super kick and counters into a Brock lock. Then he eats a barrage of super kicks and a double Us splash, but Woods breaks the pin at the last minute. He gets hit with kendo sticks more and powers through, but then gets held by one of the Usos while the other beats on him with kendo stick again. And then a double Us, which is where like they do the splash simultaneously from opposite corners, and with a steel chair, gets the Usos the win. You want to go?
Sure. This is a lot of what I want in Hell in a Cell matches, especially the more like modern era ones, if you will. So yeah, lots of violence. I think it works
because like you have more guys in here as well. You have like 4 guys.
Lots of violence, lots of weapons for sure, but then like some creativity and innovation as just to make it stand out from other cage matches, right? And one thing I noticed, no blood here, and I didn't even miss it. Like, I don't mind bleeding in a match, but there was none here, and it didn't hurt it at all. Some creative offense using the cage, right? Lots of people being run into the cage, which makes sense.
Right, like the kendo stick thing in the corner.
Creative use of kendo sticks, creative use of the ring post and handcuffs, right? Like just stuff
and just like even like some of the parts where they're just beating on people with kendo sticks. Like even that's just like that's like hard hitting at the very least.
Yep. So again, the build to this helped a lot at the time. And this was like the opening match on this show, which was a classic opener in my opinion. Tons of action. Lots of good creativity between two, like, I don't even think you could argue, like, all-time great tag teams, right, in WWE.
New Day were even named the greatest tag team of all time in WWE's, like, they had, like, one of those listing things, which I think is interesting.
So, like I say...
If they're going off of, basically, like, if they're going off accomplishments, then I guess they are, because they've had,
and like, just length.
Yeah.
Right? They've longevity and accomplishments.
They're longest reigning tag champs, I think maybe most reigns now. I'm not sure.
So sometimes I worry going back to watch matches I really liked because sometimes they don't hold up as well as in my own mind. But I thought this one held up. I was thoroughly entertained throughout. The creativity and stuff was just great, and everything was executed pretty cleanly, and everything looked awesome. I gave this match an A-. I thought it was an excellent match. What do you think?
This was such a great match, basically as good as I remember. There were a lot of spots that were either cool, creative, or both, and that's one of the things that makes this match so great as a Hell in a Cell match and a match just in general. They made good use of the cell and did it creatively too, like the kendo stick cage, in simpler ways like the dives. Yes. They just made good use of it and some unique ways as well. Like just that's what I want, like better use of the cell. Maybe try to come up with something, you know, like Bailey's kendo stick,
and nobody else getting in there and causing trouble. Like
Kofi was there,
right? But he had to watch,
right?
Yeah.
It also helps that both of these teams are super, like these are two of the best tag teams of all time, I think,
and really hot at this time,
and they have great chemistry. Yes, and they were very hot at the time. There was some great double team offense, some hard hitting stuff like the kendo stick shots. Overall, I really love this match. My favorite Hell in a Cell match, like that I've seen, because there's a lot of Hell in a Cell matches I haven't seen, but it's my favorite so far. Best one in the modern era for sure. I would agree with your rating. A-.
A-? Nice.
Yes.
You said you had some other stuff.
Yeah. So Joe Gacy, who I think was CZW champ or something.
I don't know who that is.
You might recognize him if you saw him, but I think he was in CZW.
Look him up right now.
Or he was either in CZW or GCW. I think it was CZW.
Right.
And some guy named Andre Chase. They both won matches on 205 Live. To think it was qualify for that breakout tournament. I don't think it was actually part of the tournament. I think they were qualifying matches.
Right.
So that's cool. Speaking of qualifying matches, Kevin Owens beat Sami Zayn in their last man standing match, and he has qualified for Money in the Bank. And we got 2 qualifier matches for next week. So we've got the Raw side of the match set up. I think it's McIntyre, Riddle, Ricochet, and John Morrison. And then for SmackDown, you got Big E and now Kevin Owens. And so next week, you'll have Nakamura versus Corbin and Rollins versus Cesaro to determine the final 2 spots in that match.
Nice.
And then Bayley versus Bianca Belair will be happening again on Money in the Bank with the added I Quit match stipulation added. Which, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
I love I Quit matches.
Yeah, they're the
okay.
best.
They're okay.
No, they're okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's basically it.
That's basically it?
Yeah, all right, well, I've got a chunky figuring it out.
That's going to lead us into our final segment, which apparently is going to be chunky. And that is where Jack takes some time to talk about the world of wrestling action figures and whatnot in Figuring It Out with Jack.
So we've got San Diego Comic-Con coming up, which is like, there's going to be a lot of reveals there. And so they've kind of done some like think of this as like, this is kind of like the pre-show, so to speak. Like they just, I don't know when it is exactly, but they just gave us some reveals for the moment. I'm actually going to pull up the images just on my phone so that for reference. But so they revealed like most of them was just images for series we already got. And then there were a couple new series just revealed, like no images, but like just like the lineup. You know? So hold on. There we go. All right. So we've got first basic 122, which is going to have Damian Priest from NXT, which is June 24th, 2020. It's just like a plain black attire. It's an okay head scan, and he's got rib wrap for some reason.
Rib wrap.
That's what he came with.
Yeah.
Or like that's what he was wearing. Then we got Drew McIntyre, which is I think from WrestleMania 36. The only reason I know that is because like see the logo on the back, it looks like the Beast with the sword through it. So I'm pretty sure it's from his match with Brock Lesnar. We've got a red attire Charlotte Flair, which the only time I can remember wearing red is Royal Rumble when she wasn't supposed to. No, wait, Royal Rumble 2019 when Becky Lynch won.
Must be frustrating. They have to constantly update her face scans. Just saying.
Nice.
No judgment, just saying.
And there's only 4 figures in the series, so I guess one must have gotten cut. I don't know what it was supposed to be.
Right.
And we got Chelsea Green, which is interesting because she's gone.
Doesn't know it exists anymore.
She's got like, it's like the lavender purple, I think it's called, and then white on the boots.
Mm-hmm.
And then her Chase variant, she is the Chase variant. That's just a plain black. The head scan does look like her. Like, remember, like, the Tegan Knox did not look like it.
Like a generic person.
This head scan looks really good.
Nice.
Then we got basic 123. We got Braun Strowman, which I showed you. The pants are really weird, and the shirts.
They are weird.
Cause so you know how he's
I
got
feel like he's wearing like 2000 Hardy Boys pants. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, and like so the basics already have bad articulation, but yeah, so like the pants look weird, and like you remember, so he was wearing like the lumberjack look with like the weird olive green shirt, so they painted that on, but they didn't even use the right
volume. Which it did look like that in real life, kinda.
Yeah, and like, but you can still see his like belly button and everything. They just literally painted on a normal body.
You know what the sad thing is?
It looks so bad.
That Hardy Boys 2000 pants are also Jeff Hardy 2021 pants, because he's literally never changed his look.
Yeah, so it's basically Braun Strowman's current-ish look before he got released. The bald head, the olive green shirt, which looks terrible. This is like one of those basics that just looks awful. Remember that edge with the painted on shirt and the yeah, like
lazy.
Like, this is not good. I don't like that. Next we got Dexter Lumis, which I don't like him, but the figure looks good. He's got his olive green pants. And it does look like him. Like
that does look
I don't like him, but that's a good figure.
Yep.
So if you're a fan of him, you'd probably want that. We got Otis with like the painted on belly top shirt.
That's not what he looks like anymore.
That is not what he looks like. He's got short hair and no
He looks
beard.
Ridiculous now somehow
he looks
to me.
Better.
I don't think so.
Well, there's actually a reason behind it. Like it's like
I'm sure.
Cuz like that's what they're kind of going back to what they look like when they were like cuz when Gable's Olympic and he was amateur wrestling, that's what it was, something. The bump. Then we got Bobby Lashley, which is probably my favorite one, even though it's not the best because it's the black logos on the black tights,
right?
Which you can't really see. But I want like a current Lashley, so I will get this if I can find it.
Fair enough.
Because I do want a Lashley. And then we got Jake Atlas in a black gear with the teal logos. And his Chase variant, which is white and the black logos.
He's the Chase, eh? Interesting.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And I don't like him either, but I'll say the scan looks like him, so that's good. You do want it to look like a person.
I don't dislike him. He just hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah, and he's just not that interesting.
No, he's not yet.
Next, we got Legends Elite Series 12. We got Roddy Piper.
Canadian.
And his head scan is just awful. Like
that does not look.
It does not look like Roddy Piper.
All.
He's got blue trunks.
And what's the hair even?
I think the hair is not that bad, but like the face scan, what is that?
It looks more like William Regal from a distance to me.
That's funny. But so he's got the blue trunks. He's got his usual kilt, which that's pretty nice. The kilt.
Yeah.
He's got a Roddy Piper shirt, not like the hot rod one, but a different one. Then we got Kevin Nash in the black, red, and silver NWO. Which I know you don't like him, but I think he looks really good. Like looks like him. I think that
looks cool.
That's pretty nice. And they did the same thing for Scott Hall, where they got NWO spray painted on the packaging,
right?
Which that's a cool touch. Which they also did for Billy Gunn in the DX Army gear. He's got the cloth DX shirt, like the classic DX shirt. Mm-hmm. He's got the Army helmet with the leaves taped on. You can see they even got fake
from
tape.
When they invaded.
Yeah, with the
WCW.
The Jeep tank. And then he's got camo pants, which they look exactly like the ones from the Elite 69 Ciampa, but they're actually different because they are longer.
Mm-hmm.
And his attire, it's just normal Billy Gunn, but he looks good.
Yep.
I'm wondering, because so they just did a Jake Roberts, right? Or they're going to do Jake Roberts, and this is a Billy Gunn. I'm wondering how they're allowed to do that with both of them being in AEW.
Well, they probably figure that's the only way that their figures will sell because they're kind of relevant somewhere else. I guess. I don't know.
And then we got, I don't know if you like them or not. We got a Junkyard Dog. We got him in the blue. He looks pretty nice.
Yeah,
he's got
I like the chain.
Yeah, he's got the dog collar and he's got a crown, which I think is from when he feuded with King Harley Race. I think he feuded with him, right? And he's also the Chase variant, and he's going to be in also the red.
Harley Race is another all-time great. No. I never saw in his prime.
The red is the normal, blue is the Chase. But either way, he's the Chase.
By the time I saw Harley Race, he was pretty boring.
But he's one of those guys who are like, oh, he was a legend.
I just didn't see him in his prime, right? Kind of like Andre.
Next we got Elite 87, which is a pretty nice set. We got Candice LeRae in her current look in like a lavender purple kind of gear. She looks pretty good. I feel like the head could look a little better, but it looks like her at least, right? Roddy Piper. Then we got Santos Escobar, which is my favorite one because they removed like the flag logo or whatever, like the logo, and he doesn't have like the Legato logo on his armband. So there are a few things they kind of omitted for I don't know why, because they do that sometimes. I don't know why in this case.
Maybe they anticipate him breaking from that group or something.
But they
spoiler
include the flag. Maybe it's like something with whatever it is, Mexico. Or, I don't know, but he looks awesome. Looks exactly like him.
Good.
And he's got the NXT Cruiserweight title, the updated one, and he's got an El Hijo del Fantasma alternate head with the mask.
Nice.
So I think that's pretty awesome because then you can use him as that if you want. Next we got Braun Strowman in the bald look again. And he's got, like, he comes with this camo vest thing, which looks cool. But this looks much better. Like, the pants look much more normal.
They do.
He doesn't, his hands look really small, like the fist hands. But he comes with, like, those chokeslam hands. So if you put those on, he would look fine.
Get those hands.
That's true. You gotta get those hands.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I did. But so he looks cool. Like, that one's much better. We got Asuka in her current look with, like, that, you know, she got, like, the black mesh shirt.
Right.
Green face paint. And see, she's got, like, the mask. I don't know what you call that, but, like, see, the mask is, like, the gold dripping down, or, like, the gold tassels, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know what to call it when I was, like, writing these out, but I guess tassels.
I think that works.
We got Otis in the shirtless look, basically the same as the basic, but with a different shirt, and his cloth. He's got the Money in the Bank lunchbox with the meat in it. Yeah, that's great.
Nice detail. The
but
meat
yeah, so this is basically, like, his shirtless look with the cloth shirt. And then we got Apollo Crews in the blue with the silver writing and the black, like, outline.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a smiling face with the beard. I think he looks awesome. He looks pretty good. He's got the updated USL, and he is the Chase variant. I actually like the Chase variant much better because it's white with, like, these light brown logos. I think that looks, like, much better. My favorites are definitely the Escobar, because I like Escobar, and you also get the El Hijo del Fantasma mask, which I think is cool, and then the Chase Apollo, just because I'm a sucker for the good white gear.
Nice.
You know, that's always nice.
White gear is nice.
Mm-hmm. And then we got Basic 124 revealed, which this is just going to be the lineup. We got Rey Mysterio, which is cool. Rey Mysterio figures always look cool. Well, the basic articulation sucks, but this is a good set. We got Seth Rollins as well. Angel Garza, which is nice. Io Shirai, nice. And Kyle O'Reilly, nice.
Yep.
And Chase variant is Garza. This is the set where, like, I would be fine with any of them having Chase variant. If this is an elite set, that's like that's perfect.
Right.
Because, like, the basic articulation is so bad now, but because
so
no ankles, no upper, and I heard now, like, I found out because I watched a video about it, like, so they don't have the bicep articulation. I think it is bicep swivel.
Right.
So now you can't, like, take the arm. You can't arm swap if you wanted to do that. Right. So.
We haven't gotten into that yet, but I guess you're not now.
And the Elite 88 lineup has been revealed too. We know a bit about this from render images, but so we got Roman Reigns, which will be the updated back tattoo, which looks pretty cool. That'll be so I'm definitely getting it. Mm-hmm. He's got the gold gauntlet as well. MVP will be in the black and gold. It'll be like a current MVP. We got Kushida, which unless they change it to update it, he's supposed to be in, like, remember his shorts gear?
Yeah.
Before the jeans and before his trunks now.
Before he got serious.
Yes, his pre-serious attire.
Right.
We got Matt Riddle. Nice. Love getting another Matt Riddle. 10 series after his first Elite, actually. Mm-hmm. Another Rey Mysterio, this time in Elite, which that's cool because Rey Mysterio's always got good figures, so like he always looks cool. And Trish Stratus, which the description on Ringside says she'll be pink and black. And then that's because she's also the Chase variant, and Ringside says it's a Canadian attire, her Canadian attire.
Yeah.
I don't know how that...
Bret Hart. Classic Bret Hart colors.
No, her Chase variant's gonna be the Canadian attire.
Red and white.
I would think maybe like because they did a red and white basic, so maybe it'll be that.
Yeah.
I like the set. I'll definitely get the updated Reigns. And I like getting new guys, so I'll definitely get Kushida, especially because I like him now, and I want another Riddle, so that's cool. Yeah, that's it.
That's everything. That was a beefy segment of figuring
chonk.
it out. That's going to bring us to the end of episode 50. Thanks to anyone listening for any amount of time is really appreciated. Love to hear some feedback from any of you, so please. And
tell us anything, or like, I want to do something, but...
Oh, for our 1 year? Yeah, if anyone has any ideas.
If anyone wants us to do something or has any ideas,
we got a couple weeks.
Because we're approaching a year, which is pretty nice.
Pretty crazy. So yeah, let us know if you have any ideas or anything you'd like to hear, or... I was going to say see, but you won't see anything because we're strictly audio still at this point.
If you want like something reviewed, like we could do like a fan choice. If we got
someone requests something, we'd probably look at it.
We'll eventually get it.
But I'd
be the first.
I'll be putting out ROH probably on Monday. I don't see any other bonus episodes coming this week, but you never know. We'll definitely be back Saturday for episode 51. So thanks again for tuning in and listening to us, and we'll definitely see you back here on Saturday. And until then, take care.
Peace out.